to New Orleans, where Bourbon Street is still the center of activity in the French Quarter. But at the Superdome a few blocks away, the good times roll today as LSU and Tulane resume their Louisiana rivalry. Superdome in New Orleans. LSU and Tulane meeting for the 96th time, the oldest rivalry for both schools. LSU number 2 in the country, the nation's best defense, giving up only 6 points per game, trying not to look ahead to next week's huge game against Florida. I am Pam Ward, joined by Ray Bentley and Rob Simmelcare as these two teams get ready to meet. For the first time, Bob Toledo will be taking on LSU. He is in his first year as a head coach at Tulane, says this might be his biggest challenge ever as a head coach, and we have him wired for sound.
They look a little different in those uniforms, don't they? Yeah. You guys be fired up today now, huh? Joey, you're in charge. Got to change up that snap count today, too, you know? Got to change it up because they'll jump. Right? And I hope that purple brings some bad luck like they're talking about. Well, we're going to give them our best shot, I'll guarantee you. We got a few tricks up our sleeve. I hope we can pull them off. Good opportunity for a young freshman like you. Someday it's going to be your team, huh? It will be.
And Bob Toledo is nicknamed Banquet Bob because he can work a room with the best of them. And at age 61, he's still got plenty left in the tank. I think he's got Tulane headed in the right direction, but he's got a tall task today. On the other side, Les Miles in his third year with a 26-4 record may have his best team yet. He's done a great job building a family atmosphere. Everyone we spoke with from LSU said this is the closest knit team they've been on. So you got to give Coach Miles for credit for that, is the Tigers know how to have fun.
And they certainly have fun as that they are 4-0, 2-0 in the SEC. Our menu for today, Bob Toledo does start the rebuilding program at Tulane. LSU's defense, could it be the best ever? We will compare and contrast. And of course, the great city of New Orleans continuing to rebuild now 2 years after the city was ravaged by Hurricane Katrina. Tulane and LSU about to get underway. Matt Forte, number 25, who had 303 yards on the ground last week. Sounds too good to be true against Southeastern Louisiana. Fields, Andrew Crutchfield's kickoff, and he throws back. Forte going back to Devin Holland, and it is incomplete. We expected some tricks from Bob Toledo, and that might have been a forward pass, but you can't do.
Yeah, he calls this the gambler, the name of the play, and rightly so. And they tried to get Holland set up, and he was ready over there. He was a little late getting to his spot. And I think you're right about the flag, Pam. An illegal forward pass is coming up. Boy, he had some room on the sideline if that thing would have gotten to him.
Bob Toledo is known for having a very thick playbook of
Illegal forward pass against the receiving team. The ball went forward. That's a 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It'll be 1st and 10.
So they're going to take over from the 11, and we heard Toledo when we had him wide for sound say he had some tricks up his sleeves. This was one of them, and it didn't work.
Right, and Bob Toledo kind of sends out the message right away. We're going to pull out all the stop here today. Watch where Matt Forte throws the ball right in front of the 16, comes out to the 17. Definitely a forward pass, but you saw Holland was open and had some room. That could have been a big one.
This LSU defense, number 1 in 4 major categories nationally, taking on Anthony Selfo, a quarterback starting for the first time. And there is Forte, a terrific running back, but a flag is down right behind the line of scrimmage. Forte picked up 6 as we wait for the penalty marker call.
And Forte is an outstanding running back. He can do anything and everything. He's a guy that can go side to side, make you miss. He's got a good gas pedal, great vision. Cutback guy, he can do it all. And the thing that everyone said about him, he makes people miss in the hole. And that's a tough thing for a back to do. You have to be able to move laterally very quickly and then accelerate as soon as your feet get back on the ground. And Matt Forte is outstanding at doing that.
Forte, the captain, talking it over with Steve Shaw as to whether or not they will accept the penalty.
Yeah, I think you take a penalty regardless here.
Offside, number 17 on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 1st down.
I think the number was incorrectly called out, but it was offsides anywhere. And there is Forte, his father, Gene Tulane, was the captain of the football team in 1977, and remarkably, Tulane is the only Division I-A program that offered Matt a scholarship.
Yeah, he flew under the radar big time there, but I'm telling you, if anyone can challenge this LSU defense, I think Matt Forte has a chance.
Selfo's first pass, and it is tipped at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. Tyson Jackson able to get a hand on it. He's 6'5". This Tulane offense introduced now by their center, Arian Bartow.
The Green Wave will be led by the pride of Italy, Anthony Selfo, our sophomore quarterback. Blocking for him, we have on the left, Troy Kropog, Big Baby, and on the right, our old guy, Scotty Bad Body Holt. We're going to be opening the holes for Matt Forte, our senior running back. Blocking for the quarterback, that's what we do.
Anthony Selfo, whose uncle was the head coach here, Chris Selfo, let go after last season. Selfo puts it up again, and that one is incomplete as he cannot hook up with Matt Forte, who was blanketed by Chad Jones. This LSU defense, there he is, the superstar Glenn Dorsey, number 72, on the line.
Coming at you, we got the LSU Blazing defense, which is led up front by Kirsten Cooter Pittman. Our linebackers are led by senior Ali Highsmith, and our secondary led by the War Daddy, Craig Stelz.
Glenn Dorsey, the senior from Gonzales, Louisiana, chose to come back to LSU instead of going to the NFL. Mel Kiper says he is #1 on his big board, the best senior available in the draft regardless of position. Third down, Selfo completes it, and then the ball squirts out in the arms of the receiver, Kenneth Goodrose. Craig Stelz and company get the football.
Huge play by the LSU defense. Looked like they were going to give up the first down, and instead they forced a fumble, knocked that thing loose, and of course Stelz comes up with the play. He's an unbelievable safety all over the field. He's right where he needs to be in that one and scoops up the easy fumble recovery. Take a look at it right there. The defender is going to shake that ball loose, knock it out, and that is a takeaway early for the Tigers.
So Goodrose had it, would have been a first down, but instead another turnover forced by this LSU defense. They are first in the SEC, third in the nation in turnover margin, coming in at +9. Matt Flynn gets a start at quarterback, gets it back right away to Jacob Hester, the running back, who will also see some time at the fullback position for the Tigers.
Tim, you talked about the LSU defense and their rankings, and it's mind-boggling how well they play, and then it shows up statistically. I mean, look at these things. They're first, #1 across the board in these important categories: yards allowed, rushing yards, and points. That's pretty good.
Points almost looks like an error, 5.8 points per game. Flynn is hit as he delivers the football. Good pressure up the middle, delivered by Antonio Harris. And Harris might be their best guy. Certainly he is on the line. Very quiet guy. We talked to him yesterday, but he makes a lot of noise on the field. Now let's go over and look at LSU's starting lineup on offense.
LSU, we got explosive offense led by senior quarterback Matt "Not Damon" Flynn. On offensive line, we have the biggest baby ever born in Louisiana with Herman Johnson. We have the best center in the country, number 74, Brett, the Arkansas Assassin, Helms.
And Jacob Hester was not kidding about Herman Johnson. He was 15 pounds, 14 ounces when he was born. And meanwhile, a dead ball personal foul has been called against LSU. So the ball will be moved back 15 yards. And there is Herman Johnson, who now is 6'7", 356, and he came to LSU when he was at Baton Rouge. He was over 400 pounds.
Yeah, 411 pounds when he came in. He's lost basically a fifth grader, about 50, 60 pounds, and got himself into very good playing shape. And he's a good guy to run behind because defenders can't see where the backs are because Herman's too big.
The biggest LSU player ever at 6'7", 356. After the personal foul, 3rd and 21 for the Tigers. Flynn out of the gun. Quickly delivers and hits his receiver, Richard Dixon, the tight end, who gets up and tries to fight for the first down. He's going to be a couple of yards short, 19 yards, but much of it on the second effort by Dixon.
Yeah, that was a heck of a run after the catch by Richard Dixon. He had 4 or 5 defenders hit him. You can see him come in from the right side of your screen, just a little down the field seam route, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys hit him, and he still stays up. And that's how the Tigers Tigers fight for things, and you can see Matt Flynn says, that's my guy right there.
Dixon coming off a career game last week against South Carolina, a little bit short of the first down. So Colt David, who scored a touchdown last week in a terrific trick play against South Carolina, in, we presume, to try a field goal.
Well, a sign that your team is not ready is if they don't get out there when they're supposed to be on special teams. And LSU only had 10 on the field, had to burn a timeout in order to get their special team, their field goal team, ready to go.
Colt David trying a 37-yard field goal when we return to New Orleans.
Have a real meal for lunch. Come to KFC for any of our new $2.99 deals. World-famous chicken, choice of a side, and a flaky biscuit. A real deal for lunch for just $2.99 at KFC.
You know, driving in rain makes a lot of people nervous.
This woman taking her kids home, she seems fairly relaxed.
Probably has Goodyear triple treads.
Goodyear triple tread technology with aqua sheets to help move water away from the tire, an ice zone for enhanced gripping power on icy conditions, and a dry zone for confident maneuvering on dry roads.
So what makes you nervous? Heights?
Or you're a blimp pilot.
Ironic, isn't it?
Innovative thinking so you can get there. Goodyear, get there.
Yesterday's history, just a nice memory.
I never think about yesterday.
The only day that matters is today.
Start today with Gillette Fusion Power and the confidence you get from the world's closest, most comfortable shave. Turn it on. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction. You'll barely feel the blades. Gillette Fusion Power. Be your best today.
New Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Cranked up for Halo 3. Chug it and have no mercy.
Have a real meal for lunch. Come to KFC for any of our new $2.99 deals. World-famous chicken, choice of a side, and a flaky biscuit. A real deal for lunch for just $2.99 at KFC.
This telecast is being broadcast in high definition, available on ESPN2 HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro. And we come to you from a beautiful late September afternoon in New Orleans. The Superdome refurbished. It's been open for over a year now. And inside, Les Miles and company trying a 37-yard field goal by Colt David. Flynn is the holder. And David's kick hits the upright and is no good.
Oh, and that Tulane team just got a boost out of that. They come prancing off the field after David hits the top of the upright, and it's no good. And Tulane is feeling good after stopping that LSU offense with a missed field goal.
David now 6 for 8 on the season.
Take a look at right there. This goalpost is where it's going to hit. Almost looks like it hits right on top. Bam, right there it did. I've never seen that before, Pam.
Well, he had been 2 for 2 between 30 and 39 yards, but that one was short. And now the bunch formation, the diamond formation left. Matt Forte is out there and gets the pass from Selfo, and now Matt throws downfield, and that one is incomplete as he was looking for Casey Roboto, who really has come on strongly in the last few weeks as a wide receiver, and yet another trick play.
Yeah, and another one out of the Bob Toledo playbook, and he's got a lot of trick plays. He's just going the old double pass right here, giving Matt Forte his second attempt at throwing the ball today, and LSU's defense is just so quick. They fly over there and get pressure on him immediately with Beckwith, and it's no go, but you got to respect the try.
2nd and 10, Selfo puts it up, and that pass is tipped by Ali Highsmith out of Miami. Anthony Selfo again making his first start for Tulane. He's a very good baseball player for the Green Wave, and he told us yesterday when he found out he was starting on Monday, he said he started smiling and hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, ear to ear, and that's how he was when we talked to him. And an engaging kid. The reason he's in there is because he brings some fire to this program, and that's what they feel they were lacking on offense.
Scott Elliott had been the starting quarterback, and Selfo takes off and finds defense is, holding him to a 1-yard gain as Jonathan Zinnin comes over and makes the stop.
And Selfo they list him at 5'10". He confessed to being 5'9", and he's going to have trouble seeing things throughout the day. Here's Glenn Dorsey right here, 72. We're going to take a look at him all day long. He hustles and gets after the football. Look at this big guy run. And, you know, that's not really a good example of it, but he is, I think, you know, Mel Kiper has him number 1. I think he's number 1 and going to stay number 1. I don't know if he'll be the number 1 pick, but I haven't seen a better defensive player.
He is a freak as Ross Teveno punts it. Good field position for LSU after the 29-yard punt. They're around midfield when we come back.
When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. Professional driver on a closed course.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Touareg 2 V6 for only $399 a mile.
Dual processor technology. Dell, yours is here.
My girlfriend doesn't get me. She thinks I'm strange. But TiVo? My TiVo gets me. It knows that I like baseball, so it records everything with the word baseball in it. It's more than just a DVR. My TiVo actually learns what I watch, and it goes and gets it for me. My girlfriend, no. She doesn't get me like my TiVo does.
Honey.
And I could pause any time. My TiVo gets me.
And now get new TiVo HD at a price worth pausing for.
Power tools have evolved. The new lithium Ryobi 1 Plus tools work at full power twice as long with a battery that fits all your other 1 Plus tools. Ryobi 1 Plus. Pro features, affordable prices. You'll find them only at the Home Depot.
LSU has a great quarterback tandem, starting with Matt Flynn. He has thrown for 3 touchdowns and 415 yards so far this season. Then there's Ryan Perilou, 6 touchdowns, over 400 yards. So they have combined for over 1,000 yards of total offense for the Tigers, and we expect to see Perilou today. Flynn got the start, playing on a bum ankle, especially last week against South Carolina on a wet field. He did not look like the Matt Flynn we're used to seeing.
Now, in this, it's interesting how Les Miles uses his quarterbacks. They will come in, you know, just for a play here and there. Will Ryan Perilou, and usually when you have 2 quarterbacks, they say that's not good. It's very good for LSU, and the way they use him is interesting because usually guys will switch every other series kind of thing. They'll put Ryan Perilou in just to run a certain play at any given time.
They have different packages for them. Play action. Flynn has a lot of time, looks downfield and finds Brandon LaFell, and he is taken down around the 6-yard line as he beat Carlos Jackson to the football. A huge 43-yard gain.
Nice throw from Matt Flynn. Put it perfectly into LaFell's breadbasket off a little play action, and that'll put one-on-one coverage down the field, and you see LaFell kind of limping off afterwards. But here he is. This is just a go route. Turn it inside, a little skinny post, but he just outruns the defender over there, Carlos Jackson, and you see Matt Flynn can get it out there.
So now 1st and goal as some movement. Like Avery Williams, the defensive tackle for Tulane, might have jumped over and initiated the contact.
Yeah, and then he paid for it, Big Herman Johnson.
Yeah.
Usually the offensive guy gets the worst of that deal when you get a jump off sides, and not with Herman Johnson.
Not when you're running into that guy, 6'7", 356.
Number 56 on the defense. He was in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. Half the distance to the goal, remains 1st down.
So they'll go from the 6-yard line to the 3. So 1st and goal now from the 3. Williams, a senior from Houston, Texas. 3-year starter, one of the quickest guys on the line. But a big test early for the Tulane defense. And Flynn
to Brendan LaFell. Watch the fullback come through the hole. Johnson, bam, right there. He knocks a man off, and then it's actually Skihan, the free safety. He knocks out of the way, and then it's just Jacob Hester rolling into the end zone.
Well, David adds the extra point. So a short field to work with. They only had about 49 yards to drive, and they finish it off with a Jacob Hester touchdown run, his third touchdown on the ground this season. Bob Toledo, in his first year here at Tulane, had some great success at UCLA from 1996 to 2002. His Bruins beat 15 ranked opponents. He also had a great 20-game win streak that ran from 97 to the 98 season. That's a school record. 3 bowl appearances, including the 99 Rose Bowl, but one huge loss at the end of that, was it 98 season, to Miami, when they looked like they could have been rolling towards a possible national championship, and they were knocked off kilter then, and he was only a 500 coach the rest of the way at UCLA, but he did win a couple of Pac-10 titles, and this was, of course, pre-Pete Carroll out in Los Angeles, and UCLA was very good at that point.
Yeah, he feels that that one game would have gone the other way. It could have changed the course of history, and UCLA might be the team that everyone talks about out there on that West Coast in Los Angeles, but that didn't happen. But Bob Toledo is a lot of fun, Pam. We talked when we got in the room. He lit the room up. He is a gregarious guy. Always a big smile. Makes you feel like he's known you forever, and that's going to bode well for Tulane football. I think he's going to really do a good job in terms of recruiting, and their focus is to get kids out of Louisiana.
A lot of talent in the state, and they have gotten commitments from 8 already. Fred Smith with the kickoff, and he is stopped short of the 15-yard line. Let's go down to the third member of our team on the field. Here's Rob Simmelcare.
All right, well, Pam, this is obviously a home game. You might not be able to tell from listening to this crowd, but it's a home game for Tulane. The first time that Tulane has hosted LSU here in the Superdome since 1994. Both these teams, as you can tell, are wearing special jerseys to commemorate this game. It's obviously another big step back for the city of New Orleans, and we'll show you in a second some of the detail on these jerseys that commemorates this very special game.
Nike supplying them, trying to bring some more funds to those who need it most. That's the special emblem that Rob will elaborate on in a second. But first, Tulane down 7-0. Selfo flares it out to Brian King, and King's first catch is good for 6 yards. Let's get a studio update. Our first visit with New Orleans native, Stan Verrett.
All right, Pam, this Taco Bell studio update for Michigan and Northwestern. Remember all the problems that Michigan had with Oregon's spread offense? Well, look at Rasheed Ward refused to go down after the reception from C.J. Boucher. This would lead to a field goal, and Northwestern out to the 3-0 lead. Chad Henne is back. That quarterback for the Wolverines, trying to get them started.
Thank you very much, Stan. So Michigan at an early deficit in Evanston, as Shannon Davis got that carry for, let's go back down to Rob Simmelcare for more on the special jerseys today. Rob.
All right, Pam, these are special edition jerseys, and both of them are adorned with this pelican symbol that you're looking at right here. The pelican, in case you didn't know, is the state bird of the state of Louisiana. This one is made to look like a phoenix rising from the ashes, kind of like the city of New Orleans is trying to recover from Hurricane Katrina. Both these teams will auction these jerseys off at the end of the year, all to raise money for hurricane relief here in the city.
An ongoing effort. Now 3rd and 4. Selfo floats it over the middle, completes it to Gabe Ratcliffe, and the tight end gets the first down as he picked up 10. That's the first down of the game for the Green Wave.
And Tulane's offensive line was outstanding on that play. Check out the blocking in here. They double-team Dorsey right there in the middle. He doesn't even barely get off the line of scrimmage. And if they can protect Selfo, they got a chance to move the chains like they did right there.
They have 3 returning starters on this Green Wave line. 2 of them, Michael Carrington and Arian Bartow, are the only 2 players who can bench press at least 400 pounds for Tulane. That's one of the areas they obviously want to improve on, is strength.
And compare that to LSU, they have 75 players who bench over 400.
I think that says a lot, doesn't it? 75-2. It's quite a disparity as Selfo, the fiery young man, as we mentioned, a really good baseball player as well for Tulane, takes the time out to talk to Bob Toledo. Bob Toledo, Banquet Bob is his nickname. He can light up a room. Let's hear what he had to say pregame to his team.
Okay, we talked about last year how Boise State beat Oklahoma. We talked about how Appalachian State beat Michigan. There's no reason why Tulane can't beat LSU, right? So you got an opportunity today to do something special. You only get this opportunity so many times in life, guys. And you got to take advantage of it every time you get it. It may never happen to you again. Guys, nobody gives us a chance to win this football game. The only people that give us a chance are the people in this room. We're the only ones that believe we can win.
They are huge underdogs today against the number 2 ranked team, and Bob Toledo has brought that enthusiasm and the optimism back to this program. Selfo retreating, got rid of the ball to Jeremy McKinney, his fullback. But again, that LSU pass rush is right in his face.
Boy, they come hard. They brought the blitz with that one, and it was a bootleg. And watch him come off the edge. They got 2 guys coming hard off the edge, including Stelz, the safety. So they bring the blitz, and then they got the coverages. Beckwith was all over the fullback. No gain on the play.
So now 2nd and 10 for the Green Wave, trailing 7-0. They have lost 15 straight games to LSU in this rivalry that dates well over a century. Selfo up top finds his man. Ratcliffe again, and the tight end is stopped very close to the first down marker. Lee Highsmith that time with the pressure up the middle, but Selfo got rid of it.
Yeah, he did, and that's another good job by that offensive line of picking up that blitz and giving just enough time for Selfo to get the ball out to his tight end on just a little out route, running away from the inside linebacker man-to-man coverage. Pretty well thought out, and Bo Pelini, the defensive coordinator for LSU, is bringing a lot of heat here early on. He's going to blitz this young quarterback, his first start. He's going to see if the young guy can handle the pressure, and so far so good.
Bob Toledo, by the way, calls the plays. As you see, they are just a couple of chain links short of the first down. Toledo does have an offensive coordinator in Dan Dodd, who's also the quarterback coach, but it is Toledo who calls the plays.
Yeah, he said he's been doing that for a long time, and nobody knows it better than him. And he says it is a collaborative effort for the staff as far as putting together the game plan and making suggestions. But the buck stops with Banquet Bob. He makes those play calls.
Selfo off to a good start at 5 of 8 in his first ever start.
Getting rid of the ball very quickly. A lot of three-step, a lot of quick passing routes.
Matt Forte has not carried the ball yet. Here on 3rd and inches, Selfo keeps it himself and pushes forward into the Green Wave first down.
Boy, that's a great sign for this Tulane offense, that when they need an inch, they can get an inch, because that doesn't always happen. As the center, Arian Bartow, leads the way. Right here he is, the center. Watch him get the push and just knock Dorsey back along with the guard over there in the tackle. Everybody wedge blocking, pushing inside, and they had enough to knock that LSU defense off the ball.
And Bartow is one of the 2 Green Wave players who can bench press 400 pounds, a senior out of Houston. And it is a first down from the 44-yard line. Forte still has not run the ball as it's handed off eventually to Shannon Davis, and that doesn't work at all.
Too tricky.
Pittman able to snuff that one out. They lose 5 yards as we go back to the studio and Stan Verrett.
Penn State and Illinois, the Illini, try to get to 2-0 in the Big Ten for the first time since 1991, and O'Reilly has been helping out one of those highly touted recruits that Ron Zook brought in, Ben from D.C., and taking this one to the end zone. And it's the Illini with a 7-3 lead right now in the first quarter.
All right, Stan, and Illinois really coming alive. They have a great pipeline into the Washington, D.C. area to get some players, and Ron Zook's guys up on Penn State. We'll keep up to date all afternoon as Forte finally gets his first carry of this game. And he picks up about 4 yards before Derry Beckwith comes up. Derry already with 3 stops. He's from Baton Rouge. And this Tulane team, when we talked to them yesterday, not one player on this Tulane team got an offer or was recruited heavily by LSU.
Yeah, that's what Bob Toledo got in front of his team and said, I want everybody in this room, anybody who was recruited by LSU, raise your hand. He said, not a single hand went up. And so they use that as motivation, too. You know, a lot of kids in from in-state, they want to show LSU that, hey, you missed the boat on me. Look at the trick plays so far for the Green Wave. 4 tricks so far, minus 4 yards, but it does loosen up a defense.
3rd and 11, Southpaw with a middle screen, and that is dangerous as it bounces around. Jonathan Zenin in on Matt Forte, and the Green Wave will punt.
But that's got to be considered a successful drive for them. Notched out a couple of first downs and, you know, won the field position battle a little bit. They have yet to get Matt Forte heavily involved other than the couple of passes that he's thrown.
Does have only 1 carry for 3 yards. That was a 9-play drive that ate up 5 minutes and 4 seconds of clock. As Tevino comes in, Chad Jones waits for it, as that is a sky punt. Jones calls for the fair catch and then steps away.
Well, it could have been interference.
LSU, coming into this game, had returned only 5 punts all year, and that's one of the areas Les Miles wanted to improve on. Matt Flynn leads the LSU offense when we return to New Orleans.
I'm walking.
Volkswagen. It gets into you.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
I really like Florida in this one. Their offense is unstoppable. This desk is a little wobbly.
That ought to do it. Hey, Coach. Okay, a little bevel action over here?
Unfortunately, someone never returned my router, so that's got to wait.
Thanks, Herbie.
Sorry, bro.
ESPN College Game Day built by the Home Depot. Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Do you ever wonder? Do you ever wonder just how experienced other drivers are? At Precision Collision Center, we fix it right. From your personal vehicle to commercial refinishing and fleet repairs. Recognized by major insurance companies. Average repair turnaround is just 4 to 5 days. Located 1 mile south of I-10 on Highway 30 in Gonzales. Precision Collision Center.
Where it's precision perfect every time.
Dear Ralph's Market, I'm writing to compliment your store. Besides being clean and organized, your workers are so respectful. You have that friendly hometown quality you just don't see anymore. Your meat department has to be the best in town. The produce is fresh, and your deli lunches, party trays, bakery goods, and smoked meats are hard to beat. You always treat me special. Ralph's, I don't know what I'd do without you. Ralph's Market, keeping grocery personal, one customer at a time.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
It's a sneaker recycling program that is being run by Nike. That not only supplying the uniforms for this game, but they're going to take these shoes collected outside the Superdome to refurbish 4 New Orleans basketball courts.
Did you see that last guy? Took the shoes right off his feet and threw them in there.
That's dedication, a terrific cause, and Nike is going to start that program full bore on October 1st around the country. This is the first play that LSU has run in its own territory today. That's a 2-yard gain for Jacob Hester. It's been 2 years since Hurricane Katrina came through this area, and some of the images from the devastation.
Yeah, it's amazing, Pam. You know, people say that they haven't rebuilt it yet, but they are well on the way, and you see some of the things going on in here, but this city will survive and will become what it once was. It almost is in a lot of respects.
Matt Flynn going up, long pass to Demetrius Byrd, and that one is incomplete as he was double covered. Josh Lumar was one of the Green Wave defenders along with Joe Gooseby. And here's the timeline. Hurricane Katrina, just over 13 months ago, came here and reached Louisiana, and you see a lot of those numbers.
Yeah, 85% of the city underwater. That's just mind-boggling.
The French Quarter was not underwater. That survived pretty much intact. And there is the pelican symbol resembling the phoenix for the rebirth of New Orleans. 3rd and 8. Flynn out of the shotgun. Big pressure up the middle, and Flynn goes down. Antonio Harris with his 4th sack of the season. Dropping Flynn for a 9-yard loss.
Yeah, a little zone pressure here. And Harris, who had 3 sacks last week, just fights it. He ended up with one-on-one protection, beat it, got in there, and drops Matt Flynn. And this Tulane football team is pretty fired up right now.
Harris said that indeed was the best game of his career, and it was a convincing win for Tulane. 35-27 against Southeastern Louisiana. The punt by Fisher is kicked out of bounds around the 43-yard line. Casey Robotham back there. That's a 41-yard punt. Tulane's campus was affected. Among the things that were damaged or ruined was the weight room. That's one reason why his team could not lift weights. And there is the campus after Hurricane Katrina, so much of it underwater in the uptown section.
Yeah, we were over there yesterday visiting with the Tulane staff, and they've got things back in order over there anyways. And they rebuilt the weight room, but it basically cost them a year in the weight room, and that was one of the biggest things Bob Toledo said that they have to play catch-up on, is getting strength back in their football team.
Forte's second carry of the game, and he goes nowhere as Gary Beckwith comes in to knock him down, his 4th tackle so far today. And Tulane 2 years ago had to play 11 games in 11 different cities in 11 straight weeks. They went to Louisiana Tech in Ruston, where they stayed in a dorm that had been earmarked for demolition.
Yeah.
So not exactly first-class accommodations, but the folks in Ruston certainly opened up their hearts to them and a lot of their facilities. And that was a couple years ago very tough for all of these players and staff, as that pass somehow was held onto by Brian King, even though he got bumped big by Danny McCray, who is staying on the field. Let's go back to Stan Barrett for an update. Stan.
All right, Pam, Notre Dame and Purdue, the Boilers, trying to get to 5-0. It's Corey Sheets punching it in for the touchdown.
Touchdown, Purdue.
And it's Purdue with a 10-0 lead as the struggles continue for the Irish.
All right, Stan, the Irish at least were able to score an offensive touchdown last week, but we saw this Purdue team earlier in the year, and they're looking pretty good.
They are looking very good, and Curtis Painter, their quarterback, led the nation with 19 interceptions last year. Tammy's got 16 touchdowns and just 1 pick this season, and that's why the Boilers are undefeated.
Outstanding for them. McCray is helped off the field. After that tackle, he had an interception last week against South Carolina, and now heads to the sideline for some attention. Now 3rd and 4 from just short of midfield. Selfo with time, protection breaks down, and he takes off. And this is what Selfo can do that Scott Elliott could not do so well, and that's work his way out of trouble.
Right, not only does he bring that fire that you're seeing out of him, but he has the athleticism and the mobility back there to make people miss. Glenn Dorsey had a little pass rush, almost got him. Right there, you see Dorsey, 72, diving for Selfo, wasn't able to get the ankles, and he's able to move the chains, and Tulane now into LSU Tiger territory.
Picked up 10 yards. Arian Bartow, the center, got a good late block to give Selfo a little bit more room. So Tulane only down a touchdown and a first down. Forte, another reverse, another trick play. Selfo going into the end zone. The play is well covered, and the pass is incomplete as he was looking for Brian King, but Curtis Taylor was with him step for step.
The old double reverse pass. Why not? Bob Toledo now with 5 trick plays that he's run here in the first quarter, but nothing, he hasn't gotten anything out of it other than putting that into the mind of the Tiger defense where they know that next trick is coming, and so they have to play disciplined and be in their spots. That was just a heck of a play downfield by the defender there, Curtis Taylor.
5 trick plays, negative of 4 yards combined. They had a trick play right off the bat in the opening kickoff. 2nd and 10, and the handoff to Andre Anderson, and Anderson picks up 6. We're surprised Matt Forte has not gotten into this game really offensively. We've seen him on the trick plays, but he's only gotten 2 carries for 3 yards. And remember, this is a guy who got a Tulane and Conference USA record 303 yards rushing last week.
Right, with 5 touchdowns on top, and really took over in the second half where he had 177 yards and 4 of his touchdowns. But he'll get his carries, he'll get his touches. But right now, Tulane has gone to the air. They've thrown the ball twice as much as they've run it.
Now facing a 3rd and 4. Selfall up top again and leaves that one short as he was looking for Chris Dunn. Chevis Jackson on the coverage.
You might be in 4-down territory here. I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Toledo decided to go for this on 4th down. It'd be about a 52-yard field goal if he were to try that.
Seveno, the punter, is coming out, though. And he's also a place kicker.
Yeah, they're going to try a field goal.
it. Yep.
Why not? Get some points on the board.
It's going to be about a 51-yard attempt for Teveno, who's only 2 for 3 this season.
Sideline warning, LSU.
As the LSU players have been given a sideline warning, Teveno has only hit 2 of 3 field goals, as I said, and his long is 28 yards. This one is 51.
And his career long is 45. He got that last year for the pooch kick.
Because he is the first-team punter as well, and he does pooch it, and it's covered up. A terrific play by the special teams. Craig Gelhardt, who is a terrific deep snapper, able to get down there.
And you saw his legs go into the end zone, but the ball didn't. And in college football, it's all about where the ball is. So even though you see his knees and legs are in the end zone, that ball is still out in the field of play, and that's where it gets marked. And Bob Toledo feels like that one went his way.
Finally, something worked, and they have pinned LSU back on the 3-yard line. There's Gelhardt. He's Conference USA first team last year because he is so good as a deep snapper. He also is a short snapper, snapping on both field goals and punts, and he has a lot to smile about because he got down there and covered that ball up on the 3-yard line.
The guy hustling down the field, making plays. Tulane is ready to play today.
6'3", 250 out of Tallahassee as Jacob Hester gets up to the 5-yard line. Let's go back to Rob Simmelcare.
Well, Ray, as you just said, this Tulane team is ready to play. Coach Bob Toledo coming back to the sideline after that pooch kick and really getting these guys pumped up. And, you know, when we spoke to these Tulane players yesterday, the thing I really noticed about them was the attitude they brought to the game, which is, hey, I want to see how good I am. A lot of these kids were not recruited by any other Division I school, and they see this as a measuring stick for themselves as a team and as players, and so far they're measuring up pretty well.
Toledo told us yesterday, heck, we've got a 1 in a million chance to win, but you hang on to that one. Flynn hit as he goes down, and the ball is almost intercepted. Josh Lumar able to go over and get his hands on it, but that was terrific pressure up the middle. Frank Morton coming in to lay the lick on Flynn.
Tulane defense is flying around and making plays. They've got LSU backed up here in a 3rd and long. They've been bringing a lot of blitzes. Tom Kallmeyer, their defensive coordinator, so we got to be able to bring some heat on them and force some issues and be aggressive. And so far, so good in that regard.
And the Tulane fans start whooping it up. 3rd and 7 for LSU, and they stop them. As Hester on the rather conservative play call is taken down by Julian Shives-Sands, a junior from Slidell, Louisiana.
Yeah, he made a great play, a great read on the screen. He saw it coming right away. You're going to see him on the right side of your screen. He stops his pass rush right over there and locks up Hester. That's a heads-up play in a well-coached defense.
The pass was incomplete. Jeff Sands dancing off the field. Casey Robotham standing inside of his 50-yard line for the Patrick Fisher punt. Good hang time as Robotham retreats back to his 40 and then is hit hard around the 45-yard line. Tonight, the ESPN family of networks has 3 great games on tap. Here's Brent Musburger.
Any one of these teams in action makes for an exciting Saturday night. But a night with all 3 should not be missed. Top-ranked USC marches on Washington. Defending champ Florida looks to avenge its only loss of last year. 8th-ranked Ohio State wants to make its case for another crack at the title. Number 1, number 4, number 8, all in prime time.
And there is the primetime schedule coming your way. Picture-in-picture, and get that remote ready. Get your thumbs tuned up, man, because it's going to be a fun night.
Get all the TVs in the living room.
There you go. Oh, boy, that's a hit. Gabe Radcliffe had it momentarily, but then Craig Stelz, he's known for this kind of play, coming in and making the hit on Radcliffe, who is slow getting up.
Boy, and Stelz, you see him, you watch film of this LSU defense, and he is all over the field running around and making plays. You see Selfo, he gets whacked after that throw. Luke Sanders, a linebacker, was in there. That's the second time Selfo has been hit after making a throw today.
Again, Selfo is a little guy. He's listed at 5'10", 180, and he's not 5'10". Tulane with its best starting field position of the game, starting at its own 45, now 2nd and 10, little fake throw, and then the handoff to Andre Anderson. And Anderson is able to work his way forward for 3 yards. Glenn Dorsey with the stop, big old number 72, and you see these guys play on television, and they're so impressive, but all the coaches were saying with Glenn Dorsey, what they really think puts him, not that he's not great anyway, the passion with which he plays this game. You combine the talent with the passion, and it's freaky.
Yeah, it is. It's unstoppable as the first quarter is winding down here, and Tulane making a ball game out of this, Pam. I'm very impressed with the way they're playing football today.
Tulane with a lot of trick plays. It's a fun one so far, and the number 2 team in the country is only up a touchdown.
The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup is on ABC tomorrow at 1 Eastern.
Did he send out those SCPs? Yeah. Bye. Gosh, why are we filling ourselves up with just anything? We deserve hot, juicy junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's. It's delicious.
And it only costs 99 cents. Filling up with just anything? That's wrong.
Wait.
Getting big taste for only 99 cents? That's right. Like the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger with fresh, never frozen beef, or our 5-piece crispy chicken nuggets made with all white meat. Wendy's.
That's right.
Sometimes when you're together, you just can't stand the idea of being apart. Because when you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
My name is Leonard Ross. I was born in 1906.
The Dust Bowl, the Depression, and 2 World Wars. That's just a few of the things Rosie Ross has seen in his lifetime. Through it all, he's had 2 great loves, music and his own independence.
If it's Friday, I'm playing at the Pine Cone Inn.
Long-term care insurance from Genworth Financial can help you live on your own terms in your own home, receiving covered benefits where and when you choose. Genworth Financial, insurance for living, solutions for life.
I want to be in that number.
Visa makes it easier for NFL fans to get ready for game day. Life takes Visa.
Remember that Monday when the whole dorm was watching New England stick it to the struggling Dolphins? And what that crazy Pats fan said he'd do if Miami actually won? And how after Brady threw that duck, you gave him a chance to back out of it, but he stuck to his guns? And how no one thought he would actually go through with it, but when the Dolphins pulled off the upset of the season, he actually went through with it? Remember that? Well, this Monday, when Tom Brady and the Patriots battled Chad Johnson and the Bengals, maybe he'll shave his head.
Second quarter is about to get underway here at the Superdome. LSU only leading Tulane 7-0. These teams are dead even in total yards, 65 apiece. 43 of those yards for LSU came on one play. Brandon LaFell with the big pass that set up their touchdown. Right now, first play of the second quarter, 3rd and 6 for the Green Wave. Selko gets outside, and he will not be able to even get back to the original line of scrimmage as he is buried under by Kirsten Pittman. Lost 5 yards, and the Green Wave have to punt again.
A great reaction by Pittman, who was on a stunt on the inside and then worked his way back outside. Here he is. He's going to stunt inside and then work his way back outside to get to contain. See him working that little move with Dorsey there. He sees contain being broken, and then he hustles over there and gets the sack himself.
Pittman is the picture of perseverance as finally the punt is gotten off after a dropped snap, and Tevno really recovered nicely as Chad Jones is taken down at the 11. A 49-yard punt by Tevno after he dropped the snap and picked it back up. Let's go to the studio again, and here is Dan Barrett.
All right, Pam, an update for you from Michigan and Northwestern. Michigan up 7-3, but here comes Omar Conte making moves, breaking tackles. Rough go for Northwestern. They get Ohio State last week, Michigan this week, but they're handling the Wolverines so far, 10-7. Second quarter about to get underway.
So Michigan still not quite right, as they are down now 10-7 in Evanston to Northwestern. Right here, we only have a 7-0 ball game. LSU about a 40-point favorite to win this game. And that was another comment when we were talking to the Tulane guys. They were like, the coaches said they never remembered being a 40-point underdog at any level of play. I mean, that was just astronomical.
Well, then the formation on the offense, 5-yard penalty, made first down.
And LSU, even though they came off the sideline with that personnel group, had 12 guys run out onto the field, take a 5-yard penalty, and they're just not sharp. And you can see, Pam, when they missed that field goal, when Colt David hit the upright, it really pumped up this Tulane football team, and they've been the better team since then.
LSU, this is their 5th possession, have only 1 first down. Finally, Keelan Williams gets into the act, but Williams is stopped after only a 3-yard gain. Williams, very talented sophomore out of Lafayette. Julian Shives-Sams in on the stop for the Green Wave.
Yeah, he made a nice play getting off a block and getting in there. But how about Tulane's LSU's first 4 drives? They missed the field goal, they got the touchdown, and that was after that big long pass, the 43-yarder to LaFell, and then had to punt after getting -7 yards. So the Tulane Green Wave defense is getting it done.
Jacob Hester scoring on a 3-yard touchdown run after the LaFell big 43-yard game. That's all the scoring so far as Flynn completes it to his tight end Richard Dixon, who picks up 6. Still have 7 yards to go for a first down.
That Tulane defense has been doing it, getting after the quarterback. A big hit there. They come up with the sack by Antonio Harris. And another hit on the quarterback, just bringing pressure, and that's been the key. They have not let Matt Flynn get comfortable yet, and I'm surprised we haven't seen Ryan Perilou at all, because he's a little more elusive than Flynn. Flynn coming off that ankle injury. You got to wonder when Perilou will get his chance to this offense.
Flynn says his ankle is about 80 to 85% healed, and that will heal some wounds as Jared Mitchell catches the ball and runs for a first down. Got 17 before he was tackled. Constanzo Eshabellum, excuse me. I knew I'd blow that name. So-So, as he's known by his teammates coming up. And there is Ryan Perlew.
Yeah, and
waiting his turn.
Yes, he is. He doesn't look like he's ready to go in at this point. You know, he started that game against Middle Tennessee when Flynn was out with the injury, and then they pretty much split even time last week. It hasn't made the field yet here into the second quarter.
Chris Mitchell, the intended receiver, as the ball falls incomplete. Flynn hurt his ankle earlier this year, September 8th against Virginia Tech.
And it was weird. He just kind of stepped on it wrong. A high ankle sprain, and then last week it was the worst conditions for him because it was rainy. The field was kind of chunked up a little bit, and he tweaked it early, and that's why Ryan Perlew got a lot of plays in that game. And you see those numbers for Flynn not up to his usual standards.
They were able to hold off the Gamecocks, win at 28-16, and another good stop as Keelan Williams loses a couple yards. Julian Shive-Sands already in there for another play. Avery Williams combining for the stop. Now this Tulane defense, we talked about LSU's defense. Tulane's defense giving up 33 points per game. That is 89th out of 119 teams in their level of football. They have played very well, and now a 3rd and 12.
Very inspired football team today. And hey, you get somebody, you tell them you don't have a chance, that's when they start thinking they maybe do.
4 receivers in for Flynn. Williams next to him in the backfield. Flynn tries to get away from trouble, does initially, drops the ball, and is able to recover it. Good coverage downfield by the Tulane secondary. And this Tulane crowd really starting to feel it a little bit as we have another LSU punt imminent.
That's 5 hits so far on the quarterback. Good coverage down the field, and Flynn really had nowhere to go with this football. You see there's really nobody open from that perspective, and then he struggles to get away from the pressure from Reggie Scott.
Patrick Fisher just getting it off. Good hang time and a fair catch called for. Ball taken at the 24 by Casey Robotham, who also is a wide receiver for the Green Wave. 46-yard punt. A lot of punts for Patrick Fisher. LSU fans did not expect this. Matt Flynn running out of trouble. They're only up by 7.
What's your strategy?
We have to play the very first day. We do? Yes.
Monopoly at McDonald's returns October 2nd.
I'm going to use my Egg McMuffin method. It involves eggs and McMuffins.
I rotate from one McDonald's to the other, counterclockwise.
With almost $200 million in cash and prizes. So whatever your strategy.
I rub Ron's head for luck.
Can I get some of that?
Yeah, get in there.
Get ready. October 2nd is coming soon. Christy won $50 grand, but she's not telling how.
One hot afternoon, we apply new tag antiperspirant to our subjects and release them into the testing grounds. Almost immediately, we note a clear female response. By hour 2, the scent is still proving effective. By Jove! After a long day's activity, the armpits in question appear remarkably dry. Unfortunately, one subject was never seen again.
Introducing new tag antiperspirant for guys. Tested under the hottest conditions.
Nissan Titan is a Strategic Vision Total Quality Award leader. It's also the only truck tough enough to deliver college football's most coveted award. The Heisman, brought to you by the Nissan Titan.
This is the Google map to show you the relationship between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Baton Rouge about 75 miles northwest of New Orleans. There's the Tulane campus. And then a little bit farther into town, there is where we are right now in the Superdome. This series history has been a long one. Oldest rivalry for each team. Tulane's last win coming in 1982. And the winner of the game receiving the rag, which has been passed back and forth between the teams and been lost during certain times. There have been some fights that have broken out during this rivalry, some nasty stuff. Tulane actually won the first game in 1893, 34-0, the first season of football for each school. And right now, LSU only leads 7-0. Tulane with the football. Matt Forte, who ran for over 300 yards last week, picks up 2. Let's go down to the field, and Rob Simmelcare.
All right, Pam, here with Tulane Athletic Director Rick Dixon. And Rick, thank you for joining us. What does it mean for your school, your athletic department, to have a game like this in your building?
Well, it's a very uplifting event. And, you know, there's been some since we've all come back from the storm with the Saints opener a year ago, and then certainly a day like this today. If you look around, these are the type of things that not only our school and athletics, but our city needs to get us back, and it's another great step forward in that.
Okay, play coming up, Pam. Back up to you. We'll be right back.
All right. Forte again gets it and doesn't get much as Craig Stokes makes the stop, Rob.
All right, and Rick, you know, we talked about the fact that 50% of the athletic programs had to be suspended at Tulane after Katrina. Where are you guys now on the road back?
Well, we're well on our road to recovery. We reinstated 4 of our programs this year. In the next 2, we'll bring back the other 4, and we'll be back to full strength. And fact of the matter is, we'll even be stronger from the adversity we've gone through.
A long way from a couple of years ago in that tough time. Okay, Rick, thank you very much for joining us. Pam, back up to you.
Thanks, Rob. The NCAA giving Tulane a waiver to be under their minimum number for Division 1A schools until they can get back on their feet. And that pass is flat out dropped by Jeremy Williams. 4th and 8, they're going to have to punt. The reinstatement plan for Tulane. Those are the timetable for getting these sports back. Women's bowling and soccer are going to complete it all in 2010, 2011. And many of the athletes, I've talked to Lisa Stockton, the women's basketball coach, about this. A lot of the athletes they've gotten during this tough time are special people with a great mentality to want to come in and really be a part of this rebuilding process.
Yeah, I think it takes a special person to realize the challenges ahead and then want to go on and tackle those things.
Fisher with a nice punt fielded by Chad Jones, and Jones gets away. Chad Jones
going to come back, though.
As a penalty is down, Jones, as you see Les Miles barking out his disapproval. As finally LSU was able to get something positive happening. That's a 20-yard punt return, and again, the punt return unit has been something that LSU has wanted to see more production out of recently.
And you see Les Miles over there hot on the sideline, and his team, I'm not going to say that they weren't ready to play today, but I don't think...
Return, illegal block in the back. Number 24 on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10.
And it's called on Harry Coleman, but I don't know that Les Miles guys expected this to be hitting them out here by Tulane for the first quarter.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
Hey, buddy. Hey. Shay.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Nissan Titan is a strategic vision total quality award leader. It's also the only truck tough enough to deliver college football's most coveted award. The Heisman, brought to you by the Nissan Titan.
Endless summer awaits thanks to the spa and pool heating, cooking, and lighting of natural gas. Efficient, reliable, economical. We're making the most of the great outdoors. You're always comfortable with natural gas.
Did you know you can pay your bills online at atmosenergy.com?
How will Henderson eliminate remaining 07s? With 0% for 72 months. Commander, Aspen, Town and Country, 0% for 72 months. No interest for 6 years. Hurry! Henderson has just knocked $6,000 off Chrysler 300 Hemi. $6 grand off MSRP. Plus, get Patriot for $15,980. Compass for $16,980. Or Liberty for only $17,980. It's on now. A total clearance of every 07. Get 0% for 72 months at Henderson Chrysler Jeep. Airline just south of Seagan.
Stanford right back here in the studio, checking the action on Family of Networks this afternoon. Purdue up on Notre Dame 13-0 as the offensive struggles continue for the Irish. Temple in Army over on ESPNU. Temple still looking for its first win of the season. And of course, Pam, you guys have LSU and Tulane there at Superdome.
Where we have ourselves a ball game, Stan. LSU up 7-0. Army, by the way, is the team that Tulane will play next. That next week in the state of New York on ESPNU. But right now, Tulane is coming up and playing very well against the #2 team in the nation. We have a flag here.
Substitution infraction on the offense. 12 men in the formation. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Wow, Ray, they keep doing things like this.
Yeah, and those are mental errors, and it's an indication that your football team isn't ready to play. They've had several pre-snap penalties, which is uncharacteristic of this football team.
They have 12 penalties in all in this game, and a couple of them involving too many or too few guys on the field. So now push back to the 14-yard line. There is 1st and 15. Flynn on the rollout, doesn't have anybody open, and then tries to get it into LaFell, but Charles Harris leaps up and bats it away.
Harris almost made a heck of a play going up for that football as Reggie Scott got pressure on Matt Flynn again. And there's Tom Kallmeyer, the defensive coordinator, and we enjoyed speaking with him. And he said the one thing that we really lack right now is speed on defense. And so you try to scheme yourself to get different ways to get more people around the football. And Kallmeyer does a great job of doing that and getting the most out of the talent that he has on the field.
He played at Oregon when Bob Toledo was there as a coach, and they have kept in touch over the years. Kallmeyer most recently on the San Diego State staff in his first year at Tulane. Flynn escapes trouble, and then with the head-first slide just short of the 20-yard line, Josh Lumar credited him with the tackle as he picked up 5. But Flynn has been running around a lot today, getting away or trying to get away from trouble.
Yeah, and that's the key right now for the Tulane defense is the way they have pressured the quarterback, hitting Matt Flynn half a dozen times. They've already hurried him a half a dozen times, sacked him a couple of times, forced a fumble on that one there, and it's that pressure up front. You see, look at those numbers. That's just in a quarter and a half of play.
Now Flynn facing a 3rd and 10. They have to get to the 29-yard line. 4 receivers in. Flynn with time, it breaks down, and he goes down. Frank Morton, big old number 99, as a flag comes in after Flynn is sacked.
Yeah, that was really a late flag. I didn't really see anything in terms of a roughing, which is what you usually get in that situation.
Intentional grounding, number 15 on the offense. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. It will be 4th down.
And that pressure just forced Matt Flynn into making a rookie-type mistake. He's a 5th-year senior. And when you've got people breathing down your neck and the great coverage in the secondary, he had time in that situation. And eventually has to eat the football. And you're going to see right here, he's just trying to get rid of it to avoid the sack. No defender over there as Morton was all over him.
No sack credited, but Morton with a great play, forcing the grounding and punting out of his own end zone is Patrick Fisher, another good one. As that one soars all the way to the 43 of Tulane. Casey Robottom taken down a couple of yards later.
And the Tulane Green Wave defense has been the story here so far. That last play, the big pressure, and the defensive coordinator, Tom Kallmeyer, has his guys running around making plays.
cheese. Taco Bell's new Cheesy Beefy Melt. To get seasoned beef, melty, and even more glorious melty cheese, think outside the bun.
Nissan Titan is a strategic vision total quality award leader. It's also the only truck tough enough to deliver college football's most coveted award. The Heisman, brought to you by the Nissan Titan.
For each of us, there is a moment of discovery. We see that all of life is elemental. And as we marvel at element bonding with element, we soon realize that when you add the human element to the equation, the chemistry changes. We find a way of seeing that gives us a way of touching. Issues, ambitions, lives. The human element. Nothing is more fundamental. Nothing more elemental.
So how many times do I have to tell you? Don't leave these on the beach. Yeah.
Balance performance with portability with the Lenovo ThinkPad T61 from CDW. Thin, lightweight, and includes Intel Centrino dual processor technology with wireless capability. For the latest in Lenovo notebooks, we're there. CDW.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And Monster. Go to Monster today and find a job that works for you.
That is an architecture class with a focus on urban development at Tulane University, a school in New Orleans that has a student population of just over 10,000. And urban development, architecture, something folks could use around New Orleans. And Matt Flynn, talking to the people upstairs, he has had a rough game so far.
Yeah, he's been battered around. I'm surprised we haven't seen Ryan Perilou yet. We also haven't seen Trenton Holiday, another explosive weapon for the LSU Tiger offense.
Glenn Dorsey jumped, and you have to wonder with LSU, of course, they play Florida next week in a big primetime game, maybe going a little bit vanilla, leaving some personnel off the field so that maybe they don't want to show too much.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, definitely. You don't want to...
Offside, 72 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Will repeat, first down.
You don't want to tip your hand and show Florida too much, but hey, you still got to win this ball game and do enough things to get out of here alive and still impressing voters around the country.
LSU only leading Tulane 7-0, and on the sidelines, there's number 11, Ryan Perilou, the sophomore from La Crosse, Louisiana, one of the greatest prospects to come out of Louisiana in a very long time. And Forte has had to fight for every yard, and that's great escapability as he turned a loss into a gain. Travis Jackson could not corral him. He picked up 7 yards.
And that shows you the strength of Matt Forte right there, because the defender, Jackson, had him wrapped up, made a good form tackle, but Forte just doesn't stop running. He keeps the feet going, bam, right there, lowers the shoulder, and keeps fighting and shows you the strength and gets away from him, picks up a couple of more, gets the first down.
Those are the first yards after contact all game for Tulane. Matt Forte, 303 yards, broke Mewelde Moore's rushing records last week in the win over Southeastern Louisiana. And they pick up a first down. They have been precious in this game. Forte gets nothing on that carry. And let's revisit what he did against Southeastern Louisiana. And that's not a bad day's work.
Not a bad day's work at all. And really, Pam, you see that game. He put his team on his shoulders. I mean, they were struggling. They had some things not going so well. And all of a sudden, Matt Forte took over in the second half. Ran for 177 of his yards in that second half. Said he knew he was kind of close to having a good ball game. And Seth Marler, a former kicker here at Tulane, on the sideline told him, don't let him take you out. You're close to the record.
And he got the record over 300 yards as Selfo was forced out of the pocket looking for his fullback McKinney, but that one was defended well. Tyson Jackson among the LSU defenders getting their hands in. And again, Perilou now warming up. I think a lot of LSU fans watching are saying it's about time as Perilou is getting that right arm all warmed up. Matt Forte, again, was not offered any other Division I-A scholarship except by Tulane, where his father was a defensive tackle, Gene. And he gave a lot of credit yesterday, did Matt, to his mom, Gilda. Says he likes going home and getting some of her home cooking.
Yeah, and he said that's one of the great things about going to school nearby. You can go home and get some of them black beans and rice and gumbo, jambalaya, all those good things.
When he goes home to Slidell. Timeout taken by Tulane. They only trail mighty LSU by 7.
This is Conference USA, home to strong students and smart athletes from 12 great universities. Together, they're building traditions of competition and rivalry that will continue for generations. They are ready to compete and play hard for their loyal fans. Sportsmanship and commitment to excellence run deep in our house. Welcome to Conference USA. Sportsmanship lives here.
One of the great sights in the city of New Orleans. One of the ships rolling along the Mississippi River. Of course, New Orleans is right at the mouth of the Mississippi in Louisiana, and we join you from the Superdome, where we have ourselves a very surprising football game. LSU leading Tulane, but only 7-0. Jacob Hester scoring on a 3-yard touchdown run, and that has been it. 3rd and 11 for Tulane after a timeout. Selfo gets rid of it just in time and floats it high as he was looking for Casey Robotham, a very promising freshman from La Place, Louisiana.
And that one just got away from Anthony Selfo. I mean, he had his receiver Robotham open, could have stuck it on him and moved the chains, but he's just going to kind of put a little too much oomph on this ball. See him step into there and just overthrows it because he had his man open. Might be a good fake punt area since Bob Toledo's been pulling out all the tricks.
This is already the 6th punt for Teveno. High snap, but he fields it cleanly, and he is kicking away. And it is down inside the 5 again, as he was kicking away from Chad Jones. And another good pinback for the Tulane special teams. Let's go to Stan Barrett.
All right, Pam, Notre Dame and Purdue, it just gets worse for the Irish. Already down 13-0. Curtis Painter to Dorian Bryant.
Makes an incredible adjustment.
And the Boilers pouring it on the Irish 20-0 right now as they head towards halftime in West Lafayette. A couple of other updates. Northwestern leading Michigan 13-7, and Penn State maybe with a hangover from that loss to Michigan last week, trailing Illinois 21-17. A couple of touchdowns for Aurelius Ben in that game.
I'll tell you what, Illinois, pretty good ball club. And I'm not too surprised that they're leading Penn State right now, 21-17 in Champaign.
Yeah, not sure what to think about the Big Ten just yet.
Yeah, it's very strange and kind of upside down as Keelan Williams gets one of his rare carries. Joe Gooseby making the stop on Williams. Very talented sophomore out of Lafayette.
Yeah, when I watched the film on this LSU Tiger football team, Williams jumped out to me right away as an explosive type runner. He's got one of those hunch-shouldered type runners. Remind me of Herschel Walker, the way he used to run and be elusive, but keep them shoulders kind of hunched over and then explode.
Picked up 4 yards, and now more penalties. Looked like Carnell Stewart, the right tackle, was moving. As we get a good look at Keelan Williams, Jacob Hester is the starting running back. There is so much talent on this LSU team.
False start, number 71 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
And that's the 8th penalty for LSU in just basically a quarter and a half. And that's very uncharacteristic, and it's a big sign that this football team wasn't necessarily ready to play here today. Maybe looking ahead to that game against the Florida Gators next week a little bit.
They're huge favorites to beat Tulane. And it has been a very undisciplined start for LSU. Now 2nd and 11, Flynn throwing from his own end zone. Has a man open and he missed him. Floating it high to Keith Zinger. Zinger had a lot of field turf in front of him. Flynn was knocked down and pressured by Joe Gooseby, who came in from his safety spot.
Boy, and Zinger was wide open. It would have been a foot race because he's going to be right here, and he's going to run down the field, and there's going to be nobody in that area. I mean, this could be a 95-yard touchdown pass. Look at how open he is right in there, and Matt Flynn overthrew it with the pressure.
And then Gooseby coming in, and Flynn has really been knocked around in this game, and now it's facing a 3rd and 11. Another flag. The left side of the LSU line that time, and they are as discombobulated as can be right now.
Dead ball, false start, number 79 on the offense. Half the distance to the goal.
That's the big guy, Herman Johnson.
And when he gets moving, he can't stop very quickly. And Saron Black, the tackle over there, both of those guys move.
And these Tulane defenders getting more pumped up as every play goes by. Nobody expected them to be this close to this team. 3rd and 13. Flynn under great pressure, gets rid of it, completes it to LaFell as a flag came down in the end zone. Logan Kelly in there hitting Flynn, but he was able to get rid of it.
And that's generally when the referee throws the flag down there, it's holding, and it is holding.
Penalty is in the end zone, therefore we have a safety.
It is the automatic safety when the penalty occurs in the end zone. How about this Tulane defense? Bob Toledo's got them going.
We talked so much about the unbelievable numbers and the LSU Tiger defense coming into this one, but it's been the Green Wave defense today. And they got on the board, a little safety right there with the pressure. They've hit the quarterback now 9 times, and they've got 10 hurries, and they forced a penalty to create the safety. Throw in a couple of sacks as well, and different guys are doing it pretty much every time, Pam. And you see the big stunt right there, and Tom Kallmeyer, he's seen it before. He's had some underdog teams that have done very well. Toledo making that safety sign, you betcha.
We got it. Kallmeyer was the offensive coordinator at San Diego State when they almost beat Ohio State in Columbus. The next year they got close against Michigan, couldn't quite pull it off, and he said that it's sort of like, the 7th game of a World Series. You stay close, keep these guys close in the score, and then anything can happen.
Right. He said if we can play them even for 45 minutes and get them into the deep water there in that last 15, we got a chance.
LSU has 7 points and 10 penalties. And the free kick coming to Tulane, and these fans, many of them on their feet cheering for Tulane.
And LSU right now, Pam, 0 rushing yards as well. And that tells you another thing about that Tulane defense today.
LSU 85 total yards, 43 of them on the pass play to LaFell that set up their score. Tulane only has 68 total yards, but they are putting it to LSU. Kick fielded around the 32-yard line, and then dropped at the 41 is Fred Smith. So Tulane with the safety, some momentum, 5:51 left to go in the half, and pretty good field position at the 42-yard line.
They've moved the ball pretty well. Haven't really gotten down there to where they could score yet, but they've been getting first downs.
Let's go down to Rob Simmelcare on the sideline. Rob.
All right, Pam, here on the LSU sideline, and not a good scene on this side right now is everybody's got their head hanging, a lot of people shaking their hands and exchanging a lot of negative looks, trying to find out why Ryan Perilou has not been in the game yet. He does not appear to be hurt. He is walking around.
Selfo is sacked as Tyson Jackson, number 93, gets in for a 4-yard loss.
Second sack of the day for the Tigers, and they're a good football team. They're going to keep fighting and keep going after it. They need to get some emotion. It looks like they just got some there out of Jackson.
The defense has been performing well for LSU. The offense has done nothing, and Perilou, we saw him warming up a little bit earlier in this quarter. And I'm sure Bayou Bengal fans all over wondering why Perilou
because he said he was going to use both of them.
Second and 14. Selfo after the sack, dangerous as he flares it out. Matt Forte was covered by Craig Stelz, and Selfo is slow getting up.
He took a big shot there. Luke Sanders, the blitzing linebacker, got him pretty good. See Sanders from 35 right there, bam. Selfo unprotected, making that throw, and he got hit right in the chest.
And Selfo making his first ever start for the Green Wave. Actually scored Tulane's only touchdown in their loss last year in Baton Rouge to LSU, 49-7. Bo Pelini, terrific defensive coordinator, orchestrating the best defense in the land.
And his guys are holding up their end of the bargain so far. It's been really the offense that's been so disrupted, and Selfo didn't like what he had to take a timeout.
That is Tulane's final timeout, as you see on the scoreboard. They have exhausted their timeout. Selfo looking at a 3rd and 14 with the best defense in the country, bearing down on them.
Truly hot. Wow, truly is hot.
Welcome back to the Superdome. Just under 5 minutes left to go in the first half. LSU leading Tulane 7-2. And what has been a defensive battle on both sides of the football. Bo Pelini, the defensive coordinator, perhaps telling Glenn Dorsey and company to pin back your ears and go get Selfo on a 3rd and 14. Selfo with time, has a man and finds him for the first down. That is Michael Batiste, the junior from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, with a 20-yard gain.
And the key was the protection that Selfo had. Watch this cup that's formed right here. It's only a 4-man rush from the Tigers. They got 7 back in coverage, actually just a 3-man rush. So they've got 8 back in coverage, and they're still not able to take away that in route. First down for Tulane.
Big play, and now Forte tries the left side of the line. He had a good block by Jeremy McKinney, the fullback. Chevis Jackson making the stop after a 6-yard gain.
That's where they like to get Matt Forte. He's very good running between the tackles, but I think his best scenario for him is to take it outside, whether it be on a handoff or a toss sweep. When he gets to the edge, his speed is deceptive, and then he's able to make moves, stop and start, move them chains.
4th in the country right now in rushing, averaging 145 yards per game on the ground, helped by 303 last week against Southeast Louisiana. Gets the ball again, goes between the tackles, and gets a first down to the 29-yard line of LSU as we head back to Stan Barrett.
All right, thanks a lot, Pam. Coming up on the Pontiac Halftime Report, Jesse Palmer joins me. We're going to talk about Northwestern in a battle with Michigan, just when we think we've got the Big Ten all sorted out. Purdue pouring it on against Notre Dame. More problems for the Irish today. And Illinois trying to get to 2-0 in the Big Ten, leading Penn State so far. So what do you think about what we've seen in New Orleans?
Well, I think we knew how good LSU's defense was coming into the game. It's been Tulane's defense, though, right now that has really stolen the show thus far in this football game.
All right, we'll take a closer look at what's going on there in New Orleans coming up at the half. Pam?
All right, thank you, Stan. Tulane has more total yards than LSU in this game as Forte gets the ball again and is stopped in his tracks by Craig Stelz. Picked up a couple of yards.
As Stelz came in late as the 8th man in the box and was able to get in there and get Forte before he could do too much damage.
Tulane coming into this game 1-2 on the season, losing to Mississippi State and Houston, then beating Southeastern Louisiana last week, and there you see the total yards. Tulane has more yards than the number 2 team in the nation. 2nd and 9 now. Selfo rolls, he has Forte, but goes close to him, and Gabe Ratcliffe, the tight end, had a couple of choices on the right side. Another first down and 13 yards.
So bootleg action, take advantage of the speed and the aggressiveness of the LSU defense. Fake it receivers coming from the backside. Right there, look at that fake. They got Forte coming into the flat, like you mentioned, Pam, but they got the tight end, Ratcliffe, coming from the backside. And right now, this is an excellent drive for this Tulane offense. They're kind of catching fire like the defense did.
1st and 10. As you see, LSU has mustered only 2 first downs. They're on the 17-yard line. No timeouts for the Green Wave. Selfo had to retreat, throw it off his back foot. He had Ratcliffe, but could not get the pass to him.
Yeah, and Glenn Dorsey got in there with just a bull rush, pushing through and putting the pressure.
LSU, number 2 in the country, 4-0 overall. They play Florida at home next week, but right now they are taking on Tulane. And it is the Green Wave making the waves in this game. They are only down 7-2. They have more yards of offense, and their defense has been stellar. Just one big play. It was a 43-yard pass to Brandon LaFell. Jacob Hester scored a touchdown, and that's it. The safety for Tulane has gotten them on the board. Right up the middle, Matt Forte, if he breaks this Scout's tackle, he scores. But Forte picking up 12 yards, it's a first down.
Oh, and the acceleration from Forte on the draw look right there. Waited, and then hit the gas pedal. And if it wasn't for the touchdown-saving tackle from Stelz, Tulane would have the lead in this ball game. Look at him explode through the hole right there. Kind of missed with his stiff arm, and Stelz got down low and got it.
All right, Matt Forte, lightly recruited out of high school, is a legitimate NFL prospect. And he is showing you a lot of his talent on this drive. We're inside 2 minutes and a half. Right back to Forte, trying the right side of the line, and he is pushed out of bounds. As that will stop the clock with 1:46 to go. Calvin Shepard among the LSU Tigers forcing him out. And remember, Tulane is out of timeouts.
And Tulane already with 48 yards rushing, Pam, and that doesn't seem like a big number until you compare it to the 26.8 that LSU gives up per game.
And look at LSU with no rushing yards. They have been hampered by a couple of sacks. And Tulane now with a 2nd and goal from the 5. Forte, 26 yards on 5 carries on this drive alone. And they give it to Andre Anderson, who goes into the end zone. Tulane leads. Great drive by the Tulane Green Wave, taking it on their 42, culminating with Anderson's touchdown run. And the Green Wave have taken the lead over number 2 LSU.
Boy, and it was a legitimate drive, too. They just rammed it down the throats of the number 1 defense in the country.
Thibodeau adds the extra point, but there is a couple of flags on the field. 3 to be exact. Miles looks on.
Illegal motion. Number 80 moving toward the line of scrimmage at the step. A 5-yard penalty. We'll replay the try.
So Justin Kessler, who is a backup tight end, with a little bit of movement, so take the point off the board. And Thibodeau will be moved back 5 yards. And there is Andre Anderson and this Tulane team coming out fired up. They believe they can play with LSU, and they're proving it so far.
And a great call on that touchdown by Bob Toledo. Everybody in the building thought Matt Forte would get another chance to hammer it up in the middle, and they hit him with a wing reverse.
And a 25-yard extra point is good by Thibodeau. And the Green Wave with the safety and now the touchdown lead LSU 9-7.
Right here's your wing back. He's just running a little wing reverse. They faked it in there to Matt Forte. It dropped the defense inside. Weren't able to keep contained. And then Andre Anderson with the speed outruns him to the corner, beating Chevis Jackson for the touchdown. And Les Miles is wondering what is going on.
Very interesting halftime talk, I'm sure, is going to be heard by the LSU players. We'll see if they open things up in the second half. If you're just joining us, Brian Perilou has not gotten into the game at all for LSU. And that touchdown on the reverse Bob Toledo rolling the dice kind of offense today.
Yeah, and like I said previously, Pam, I think it's worked in just spreading out the LSU defense a little bit, making them have to be aware of every little thing and play disciplined football. And when you're thinking that way and you're worried about all those things, it kind of takes away your aggressiveness sometimes. And then if you're that half step hesitant, it doesn't matter if you don't bench press as much as the next guy. He's going to get you, and that's what Tulane has capitalized on. And, you know, all those trick plays and all those things, and then bam, the hammer with Matt Forte, and Salpo is running around on the edges and making plays. So they're doing a heck of a job on both sides of the ball.
The number 8, Trendon Holiday, he can turn things around in a heartbeat, and he gets the punt. Holiday, who is a world-class sprinter, breaks away. Trendon Holiday, get the ball in his hands, and he'll hurt you. Darren DeRochemont coming up with a stop, but that's a 38-yard return for the little slippery guy, Holiday, and we've been wondering when he was going to get his hands on the ball.
Yeah, I would give it to him a lot more if I had a guy that had that 10.02 speed in the 100. Watch him just explode up the sideline. He takes a look at it, slows down, and then bam, puts the hammer down and starts running by people.
Averaging 8.5 yards every time he touches the football. That was a 38-yard explosion. LSU still with 2 timeouts and a minute 33 to go as they start this drive from their 44. Flynn is still in there, and he completes it to LaFell. And it is Brandon LaFell who got the big 43-yard catch that set up the only score of the game for LSU. That one good for 7.
And decent protection for Matt Flynn. That made all the difference in the world.
Adam Quintua coming in with a little bit of pressure. He is starting with Sean Carney hurt. Carney has been gone since opening day against Mississippi State, out with a strained calf. Flynn flushed out, tried to get rid of it, hung on to it, and is sacked once again. Antonio Harris and Adam Quintua converge to drop Flynn.
Mike Flynn was kind of loosey-goosey with the football at the end of that. Almost lost it again. But Harris has just been getting after it all day long. There he is with his sack initially, then he gets a little help from some friends as far as putting the pressure on. But all day long, Matt Flynn has been under duress. And I'm very surprised, and I've said it before, that we haven't seen Ryan Perilou at all. And here's that last one right there. And you see Flynn tried to almost throw that thing away again late, and he's fortunate he didn't lose it. You see him, he's starting to get a little desperate back there. Look at that, hit 10 times, hurried 10 times, sacked 4 times in just one half of football.
Remember that hold in the end zone also that resulted in the safety for Tulane. And with that last sack, LSU now minus 11, negative 11 in rush yards for the game. And there is Perilou wondering when his number will be called, perhaps in the 3rd quarter.
And I think in the 3rd quarter, you're going to see LSU come out and try to establish the run, because the passing game, they can't protect right now. Now they're in a hurry-up situation right now. Probably run a screen or something here, but I expect they'll try to establish the run coming out in the second half.
Now down to 1 timeout, facing a 3rd and 14. They have to get to the 46 at Tulane. Flynn completes it, and that will be good enough for the first down. Demetrius Byrd able to get enough yards after the catch to pick up the first down. That's a 17-yard gain when they needed 14.
Matt Flynn's a cool customer. You know, he's been batted around all day long. We've pretty much documented that, but he's still in there fighting away, getting his team ready. He wants to score on this drive.
A little hurry up with just the 1 timeout and more movement on the offensive line, and they start to chirp at each other a little bit. Stewart and Johnson both getting up out of their stances early.
Before the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remaining first down.
The 11th penalty of the day, 5 of them pre-snap penalties. That just is an indication that your football team's mind ain't where it should be.
Week from the night, Florida coming to Baton Rouge to take on Les Miles Ball Club, but they have trouble brewing right here in New Orleans. Flynn flings it. LaFell gets it for another first down. He is tackled down at the 35-yard line by David Skehan. Skehan the walk-on from the Bronx, one of the true characters that we have come across.
You aren't kidding. He said if he had visited Tulane, he never would have came there because he thought there were beaches down here. He wanted to come down and surf. Not so much.
Yeah, he said it's the green wave, so we figured maybe there had to be a beach here, like the Pepperdine waves, but this isn't Malibu. Nice city, but it's not Malibu. Coming up later tonight on ABC at 8 Eastern, John David Booty and #1 USC travels to Seattle to take on Washington in a Pac-10 battle. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. John David Booty, a high school teammate of Jacob Hester, leading #1 USC. Right now, #2 LSU is losing.
Boy, and we talked about this and wondering how LSU would, not just blow Tulane out of the water. As you see the notes on tonight's game with #1 USC in Washington. But Tulane has just shocked the house here today. The way they're playing on both sides of the ball, the intensity, the energy, the way they're getting after it. This is a great sign for Bob Toledo and his football program.
And there was a buzz in this building, in the Superdome. Obviously, a lot of fans from LSU, not just coming down from Baton Rouge, but in the New Orleans area. And there are the total yards. LSU, with the pass game clicking the last couple of plays, now with 122, but the running game has been non-existent. Flynn, a lot of time, and he finds his receiver inside the 20. That is Chris Mitchell, as he is stopped down after a 16-yard gain. No timeouts left for either team.
Matt Flynn knows how to run a 2-minute drill.
Fifth-year senior waited his turn behind Jamarcus Russell, and that pass is dropped by Brandon LaFell with 17 seconds left to go in the half.
And that was a pretty good throw. He led LaFell right into an area where he could catch and run after the catch. Look, he's just going to run a little slant route. Bam, right there. If he makes that grab, he's got a chance if he can make that linebacker miss. Got a chance to put it in the end zone on that when we drop the football.
Big catch today, 33-yarder that set up their only touchdown. With about 11 minutes to go in the first quarter. Since then, they have been shut down by this Tulane defense. Flynn has a lot of time to throw, and it's almost intercepted. It was right in the hands of Charles Harris.
Harris is going to hate himself because that would have definitely kept LSU off the board here in the final minute.
Boy, he was looking for LaFell, but found Harris's hands.
And he was way too late making that throw. Did you see him stepping up into that pocket? He's got to let this ball go right now. Instead, he takes a couple little gallant steps forward and throws that thing late, and he hit the wrong team right in the chest.
So Flynn, very fortunate that he did not throw the second interception of the season. Only 11 seconds left to go. Flynn to the sideline for LaFell, who drops it with 7 seconds to go.
Now 4th down, they got to try a field goal, but LaFell showing you again the lack of concentration for Les Miles' football team. LaFell with 2 drops on this drive.
So Colt David, who had a 37-yarder hit the right upright in the first quarter, is a yard closer from 36.
And that miss really kind of started the fire for the Tulane Green Wave. That's what really got them excited and pumped up, thinking they had a chance.
And David is able to scooch that one inside the upright. And LSU, with an impressive drive, is able to regain the lead at 10-9.
And that's big, just to get that lead back, and to get those points on that drive and have something good happen to you after it had been so long before Les Miles' football team had really done anything praiseworthy.
They still made mistakes on the drive, a couple of the drop passes. They were fortunate that Flynn did not throw an interception when Charles Harris had it right in his hands. And Tulane, by the way, when they were leading, albeit briefly, 9-7, that's only the second time all season LSU has trailed. South Carolina went up 7-0 last week before losing to LSU. And there's the quarterback comparison. Young Anthony Selfo making his first career start. He is the son of the Louisiana Tech offensive coordinator. His dad was the offensive coordinator here under his uncle Chris Selfo, who was let go. And Anthony decided to stay on with Bob Toledo as his head coach.
Yeah, and Anthony told us it never even entered his mind of maybe even leaving Tulane and trying to go somewhere else.
It's been 25 years since the Green Wave beat LSU. Tulane was down late in the fourth quarter. Quarterback Mike McKay found Reggie Ranelli, put the Green Wave up 31-28, sealing the victory over the Orange Bowl-bound LSU Tigers. And LSU has defeated Tulane now 15 straight times, but for Anthony Selfo and the rest of Tulane, especially the defense, has been magnificent so far today.
And Selfo is a big college football fan, so he appreciates the history of this thing.
Always wanted to play here at Tulane, and his dad was an assistant here. And Josh Jasper fielded it, and then his knee hit the turf.
Yeah, and he started running.
Check that, it was Jordan Ellis. But that's going to do it. Jasper actually had the kickoff, and this, now we'll check the flag before we go into the half.
Offside on the kicking team. The penalty is declined. Halftime.
And that's almost a fitting way for LSU to end the half with another penalty, right?
Yeah, just mistake prone throughout the first half. And give credit to the Tulane football team for having some fire in their belly and coming out and giving the Tigers, number 2 in the nation, the number 1 defense in the land, and gave him a little hit in the mouth here early on.
And let's go down to Rob Simmelcare.
Okay, here with Coach Miles. Coach, your offense held at bay so much of this first half. What's been the issue?
Well, we keep making mistakes. You know, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot with pre-snap penalties. We're moving. It doesn't seem like they started this game as sharp as they need to.
We expected to see Ryan Perilou a fair amount. Why haven't we seen him yet?
Well, I think we'll expect to see him in the second half, and we were talking about the opportunity to get him in the first half. It just, we again keep shooting ourselves in the foot and put ourselves in long yardage situations.
Okay, thank you, Coach. All right, Pam, back to you.
All right, we'll see if they open up that playbook a little bit in the second half. LSU only up 10-9 over Tulane. LSU has 1 more yard than Tulane of total offense. Time to go to Jesse Palmer and Stan Barrett for the Pontiac Performance halftime report.
All right, thanks a lot, Pam. 41-point favorites, LSU over Tulane. They got the 1, and they lead 10-9. And with that, we welcome you into the Pontiac Performance halftime report. Just to let you know how much of a mismatch this game was expected to be. LSU won this game 49-7 last year in Baton Rouge. And this year, again, 41-point favorites. What's going wrong for the Tigers so far in the first half?
Stan, I just think it's so many miscues right now on the offensive line. 4 sacks, 10 hurries. They give up a safety. It looks like this Tulane defense just wants it more. They're hungrier right now, and we talked so much about LSU's defense coming into this game. 12 penalties right now for LSU. It makes me beg the question, is this LSU football team looking ahead 1 week to their home matchup against Florida? Maybe they overlooked this Tulane team, but I got to say, I'm very impressed with Tulane. Obviously, the way they're playing defense, but the way they're playing special teams. The punting game right now is the best I've ever seen in a half of football. They played outstanding on that end of the field right now, and we got a really good matchup right now, not something that everybody expected.
LSU has won the last 15 in this series, but they got some work to do in the second half to salt this one away. Meanwhile, Notre Dame 0-4 for the first time in history. Charlie Weiss trying to right the ship against Purdue and that high-powered offense. First quarter, 3rd and 5 for Purdue. Curtis Painter to Dorian Bryant. And there they go, Jesse.
Tell you what, Curtis Painter threw 19 interceptions last year. He's only thrown 1 interception coming into this game. He's the biggest reason. Dorian Bryant's another reason why they've been so successful.
And Corey Sheets finishes off the job on that drive with a touchdown, and Purdue up 10-0 on the Irish. And then they get into the red zone, and it's Painter to Bryant again.
They get used to it. I mean, we've seen this week in, week out. Notre Dame's seen too much of it so far in this first half, as they're up right now 23-0 in this game. The problems just keep on piling up.
What about Michigan and Northwestern? Michigan coming off that big win over Penn State last week. C.J. Bichetta, Rasheed Ward, and Ward just will not go down. Looked like he was down, but never touched the ground, and he goes deep into Michigan territory. They challenge from the booth on the play. Let's take another look at it, Jesse.
This is just unbelievable athleticism. Everybody on Michigan, including all their fans, feels that he's down. Give Rasheed Ward credit. Great athleticism. It's a big play for Northwestern.
That would lead to a field goal, 3-0 Wildcats. Chad Henne back from injury. Finds Mario Manningham, and he'll do the rest. Wolverines up 7-3. Henny will come out of the game, though, and Ryan Mallett back in, and Henny not suffering from an injury, but just out of the game, according to Lauren Carr. Omar Conte for Northwestern. And he takes it to the house, and Northwestern up on Michigan 16-7. Hard to figure out what's going on with the Wolverines after it appeared that they had gotten things together. Penn State and Illinois. Penn State coming off that loss to Michigan last week. First quarter, Illinois trailing 3-0. Aurelius Ben back for the kickoff.
You know, and Ron Zuckett said Aurelius Ben was ready to start Division I football his last year in high school, and you see why. He's just a physical presence. He's a monster, and he can hurt teams receiving the football, but also in the special teams game.
Great recruit that Zook got from the D.C. area. 2 minutes left in the first. Juice Williams to Rashard Mendenhall on the option. And the Illini up 14-3 on Penn State. That Penn State defense so great against the run, but they give up the touchdown in the red zone. Under a minute to go in the first, Anthony Morelli to Derek Williams, another kid from the D.C. area. And Penn State cuts the lead to 4 at 14-10, but here comes Illinois again. And once again, it's Williams going to Ben.
Tell you what, this guy, again, he's taking strides each and every week. You just see the physical presence, the strength on the field. He's a big body, big target, can break tackles. Touchdown, Illinois.
So the Illini with a 21-17 lead at the half. We'll keep an eye on that one. South Carolina lost to LSU last week. They have Mississippi State and Columbia today. The Bulldogs trying to win their 3rd straight on the road. We'll check on them in just a minute.
What are you working for? Is it the challenge? The deal? The all-day meetings? Or maybe it's all for something else. Whatever you work for, Monster works for you with powerful tools that deliver the best job match. Go to Monster today and find the job that works for you.
Monster works for me.
Back to the action at Dave & Buster's, where they're romping, they're stomping, they're winning with the 25th anniversary Eat and Play combo. Choose from 25 entrees and get a $10 game card for just $15.99. Score!
This is the gel that got America gelling. Now Dr. Scholl's has put 2 amazing gels together to create an insole that's soft and supportive for outrageous comfort. The new improved massaging gel insole. Dr. Scholl's. Get in.
This is Conference USA, home to talented student athletes from 12 great universities. Every year, the competition within these walls gets tougher. The rivalries get more intense. It pushes these young men and women to become smarter athletes and stronger students. Pride and respect run deep in our house. Welcome to Conference USA. Competition lives.
Wow! Free gas is back at the Duplessis Pontiac Buick GMC in Gonzales. Not only will you get a deal that's hard for anyone to beat, you get $500 in free gas as a gift from us. New extended cab V8, $18,988. And free gas. New Yukon, $8,000 off. And free gas. Get the new GMC Acadia. Get 0% financing on new Sierra Crew cabs. Duplessis is where the deals are. And free gas. Duplessis Pontiac Buick GMC near Tanger Mall in Gonzales.
Have you just finished high school? Or maybe you found yourself in a dead-end career? Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College. And for over 30 years, we've helped people just like you get started in a new career, right here in Baton Rouge. So come visit us here today at ITI, and we'll show you 7 different career opportunities that I promise will be affordable, will fit into your schedule, and
They've made the biggest statement to start the 2007 season. Tom Brady, Randy Moss, and the Patriots are perfect. The high-powered offense of Carson Palmer and Chad Johnson awaits in Cincinnati. Patriots Bengals, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Format's halftime report. LSU with a Jacob Hester touchdown. They have just that and a Colton David field goal so far. And they're in a battle with their in-state rivals. It's 10-9 LSU over Tulane at the half. So top 5 team in a battle right there. Top 5 team got upset last night. In case you missed it, West Virginia at South Florida. First quarter, Pat White intercepted by Ben Moffitt. And Moffitt taking it in for the touchdown. One of 2 picks for Moffitt in the game.
Tell you what, defensive coordinator Wally Burnham's defense, 6 turnovers they got from West Virginia, and that was the big story in this football game.
Second quarter, South Florida up 7-0. Matt Grothe avoids the sack. Somehow, then he finds Carlton Mitchell, who somehow stays in bounds.
And, in my opinion, this is the play of the year so far. Well, that is so impressive, Matt Grothe, watching him do that. You see the upside he brings to this team. Unbelievable.
Pat White left that game with a thigh injury, and the Mountaineers really couldn't manufacture the kind of offense we've seen from them earlier in the season. What else went wrong for West Virginia?
Well, really, I think it wasn't so much what went wrong as it was what went right with South Florida. We talked about their defense getting 6 turnovers, holding West Virginia to only 188 yards rushing. Not a lot of teams can say that. But watching Matt Grothe in this football game, he was only 11 of 20 in the game. He made some poor decisions throwing the ball, underthrew some guys. But that touchdown pass we just saw to Carlton Mitchell was just, it just displays his upside and what he brings to this team. Matt Grothe's leadership, to me, it permeated through the television screen watching this game last night. He's the reason, really this team has had the success they've had. And again, on defense, with all the weapons West Virginia brought to this field, they just played better. All the speed you saw, George Selvey, Ben Moffitt, they were unbelievable, really. And Coach Levitt, you got to give him a lot of credit. With the world watching this football game with a packed house against a top 5 contender, his team showed up. And what a statement football game this was for South Florida. It was an outstanding game. It was sloppy, but an outstanding game, and a great job by South Florida in this game.
So first Louisville and now West Virginia getting knocked off out of the national title hunt. So South Florida is going to climb into that hunt, it appears. And with Rutgers, they have a meeting later on this season that could be key in that Big East race. Talk about the SEC now. Mississippi State and South Carolina. We saw Mississippi State get crushed by LSU the first week of the season, but since then, they've won a couple of games on the road. They're up to 3-1, taking on South Carolina. And Mike Davis punching it in for the Gamecocks. But the Bulldogs would respond. Josh Riddell to Aubrey Bell. And Bell breaks tackles, gets into the end zone, ties the game at 7. Steve Spurrier, you know it well. He made the quarterback change. Chris Smelly, the redshirt freshman in, and he's going to Kenny McKinley here. And McKinley would do the rest. And Mississippi State, another impressive showing on the road for them so far. They head toward the halftime with 14 apiece. Mississippi and Georgia.
Running into that Georgia defense.
Seth Adams to Mike Wallace. We saw Ole Miss last week hanging there with Florida right to the end. And Mississippi tied with the Bulldogs right now, 7-7. Lots more coming up here on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report. Game of the day coming up later. Cal in Oregon. We'll take a look ahead and give you a preview of that one coming up.
The Pontiac Performance Halftime Report is powered by Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA.
Welcome to the new shape of fast. Introducing the new Pontiac G6 GXP Street Edition. Pontiac, designed for action.
Did you just double dip? You know it.
Pizza Hut's Dippin' Strips Pizza. Designed with 16 strips, custom made for dipping, and 3 tasty sauces. Get a 1 topping for just $9.99 from America's favorite pizza. Pizza Hut, now online.
Okay, looking good. Noel, with your good driving record and your son's good grades, I think we can save you a few $100s.
That's great.
State Farm's got football fever.
I never get used to that.
You'll get it too.
That was excellent. They love this time of year.
To see how much you can save, call an agent or visit statefarm.com.
It's Pizza Hut's Pizzone. With over 1 pound of hunger-crushing cheese and toppings, you may experience unhunger. Unhunger. Get 1 for just $5.99 or 2 for $10.99. Get more full. Get America's favorite pizza. Pizza Hut, now online.
Any one of these teams in action makes for an exciting Saturday night. But a night with all 3 should not be missed. Top-ranked USC marches on Washington. Defending champ Florida looks to avenge its only loss of last year. 8th-ranked Ohio State wants to make its case for another crack at the title. Number 1, number 4, number 8, all in prime time.
And you can check out the action from all of those games on College Football Final. We'll be here 11 Eastern tonight. To check out all of the action from today, you can log on to ESPN.com and search Pontiac to vote for the very best plays that you've seen. Vote for your game-changing performances at ESPN.com. Of course, one of the games we'll be talking about tonight, 11 Eastern here on ESPN2, is Cal and Oregon, number 6 against number 11, Jesse, and it's two high-powered offenses. What do you expect them to see?
Well, it's going to be two of the highest-scoring offenses in the Pac-10 playing today, and I really think with all the weapons that both teams have at the skill positions, it really comes down to the running back position in this football game. I really believe that, whether it's Justin Forsett at Cal or Jonathan Stewart at Oregon. Last year when they played, Dennis Dixon had 3 turnovers in that game, but Justin Forsett 163 yards running the football. Jonathan Stewart only 25. It was very lopsided towards Cal. I expect it to be much more even in this game. Interesting to see also if Cal can get Deshaun Jackson involved. In the last 2 weeks, he's been very quiet. Only 8 catches, 67 yards. Heisman hopeful in the preseason. Can they find ways, can Tedford find ways to get Deshaun Jackson touches in this football game, keep this thing close?
This is the kind of game that can spring a guy into the lead in the Heisman race if Deshaun Jackson can come up with a big performance there. Cal hasn't won in Eugene since 1987, but the Ducks haven't forgotten that beatdown in Berkeley that they got last year, looking for revenge at Autzen Stadium. Hey, LSU, we expected a high-scoring game in this one, at least for the Tigers, but just 10 points on the board for them so far. Tulane in it. It's 10-9 at the break. The second half coming up with Pam Ward and Ray Bentley in just a minute.
New Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Cranked up for Halo 3. Chug it and have no mercy.
No chips ground into the carpet. No beer runs. No belly bumping. Let's do it. Ice cold beer straight from the tap. Big screen TVs. Hot food. Beautiful women serving you.
The only place to catch all the action is Hooters. Check out our new football menu featuring boneless wings, a delicious pot roast sandwich, and mini training burgers for only $7.99.
I've driven and owned most all the other brands. This is the strongest truck available.
The 2 other trucks I owned were good trucks, but they can't compare to this Tundra. I've owned American trucks before. It was easy to switch over to Toyota.
I've driven other trucks in the past, but nothing's quite like my brother's Tundra. Everyone in our family drives a Toyota these days.
My grandfather was a Chevy man, but if he were still here today, I'm sure he would be a Tundra man.
Buy a new 07 Tundra and get 0 APR for 60 months, or take $3,000 cash back. Tundra, the truck that's changing it all.
All-Star Automotive Group is sizzling with super hot markdowns at our model year-end sales event. It's the best time to get a cool deal on a hot, newer pre-owned vehicle. With over $65 million in inventory, All-Star lets you be choosy. For cool deals on hot rides, come to All-Star's model year-end sales event.
Be choosy.
Yeah. Last week in Dover, mayhem reigned on the Monster Mile, but nothing could stop Carl Edwards from flipping his way back into victory lane. Next up, NASCAR navigates its way into Kansas for the Lifelock 400. The thrill of the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup continues Sunday at 1 on ABC.
Check out the pennant race in the NL East. The Mets with a 5-0 lead on the Marlins. Mets have to have this when they trail Philadelphia by 1 game in the NL East. They're 2 back in the wild card. The Phillies take on the Nationals 3:55 this afternoon. Back to college football, North Carolina and Virginia Tech. Tyrod Taylor in at quarterback for the Hokies. What do you think of him so far, Justin?
I'll tell you what, this is the reason why they made the quarterback switch against LSU. Tyrod Taylor's running ability as well as his passing ability. A nice touchdown run inside the red zone.
Second quarter, Virginia Tech, third down near the North Carolina 20. Taylor's pass deflected. Deontay Williams taking it back 38 yards. And that would lead to a field goal. The Tar Heels down 7-3. So the Hokie offense still trying to find itself this late into the season after the quarterback switch from Sean Glennon. But they do lead the Heels 10-3. Some other scores, Boston College climbing the rankings up to number 12 this week, leading UMass 10-0. Kentucky up to number 14, beating Florida Atlantic 14-10. Facing off with Howard Schnellenberger, who was an All-American at Kentucky back in the 1950s, and Connecticut leading Akron 16-10 in the third quarter. All kinds of problems for LSU. We'll see if they can get the protection a little bit better from Matt Flynn. That was a safety, in Tulane trailing by just 1 against the number 2 team in the country. Second half on the way.
The Pontiac Performance Halftime Report is powered by Pontiac. Watch this season's best Pontiac game-changing performances at ESPN.com. Keyword Pontiac. GXP Performance Series isn't faster than the speed of light, but one is faster than a Porsche Boxster, and another is faster than a BMW X5. The Pontiac GXP Performance Series, designed for action.
Mr. Combs? You the CEO of BK, man who says I can have it my way. Sure, I'm hungry. Y'all look closed. I'll get my keys. Now that's what's up. BK's now open till midnight or later.
Are these numbers right? Yes. Do you know what this means? It means we have doubled in the last 6 months. Because we're going to have to hire more people and move into a bigger space to get those key card things. But we'll need to order a lot more wood. But what if this continues?
Dave, isn't that kind of the idea?
Citibank Business Bank. Whatever your growing business needs, Citibank's there with guidance and customized solutions to help your business thrive. Come to Citi and let's get it done.
Mr. Combs? You the CEO of BK, man who says I can have it my way. Sure, I'm hungry. Y'all look closed. I'll get my keys. Now that's what's up. BK's now open till midnight or later.
This is Conference USA, home to talented student athletes from 12 great universities. Every year, the competition within these walls gets tougher. The rivalries get more intense. It pushes these young men and women to become smarter athletes and stronger students. Pride and respect run deep in our house. Welcome to Conference USA. Competition lives here.
Second half action about to get underway in the Superdome. LSU unbeaten, the number 2 ranked team in the country, only beating Tulane 10-9. Colt David with a 36-yard field goal very late in the first half to give LSU the lead. Cam Ward along with Ray Bentley. Tulane was supposed to lose this game by 41 points. They're only down by 1. What's going on here?
Well, it's a combination of things. Number one, Tulane is playing with all kinds of emotion, flying around, especially on defense. And then LSU, as Les Miles told us going to half, they've been killing themselves. 11 penalties in the first half, a lot of them pre-snap. And so they're making a lot of mistakes. They're kind of playing right into the fired-up Tulane football team. We'll see if it can carry on throughout this second half.
We did not see Ryan Perilou at all in the first half, and Les Miles told Rob Simmelcare on the way to the locker room that he expects to use Ryan in the second half because their offense sputtered around. Trenton Holiday, second time he has received a kick. Mr. Excitement breaks free and gets it up around the 30-yard line. Meanwhile, Bob Toledo's team only down by 1. Moments ago, he talked to Rob Simmelcare.
Okay, here with Tulane head coach Bob Toledo.
Sausalito. Coach, yesterday you told us you had about a 1 in a million shot. What do you think now?
Well, it's still a 1, I don't know if it's a million, but it's getting closer. But I tell you what, I'm extremely proud of our football team. They work really hard. They're playing hard. Our defense is doing a super job. Our punter's doing a heck of a job of getting field position for us, and we just got to keep chipping away at offense, see if we can make some plays.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Pam, up to you.
All right, Bob Toledo in his very first season as the head coach came out of retirement a couple years ago, worked in Mexico last year, and said he just wanted to be a head coach again. And he is trying to rebuild this program as Jacob Hester gets 6 yards on that carry.
And LSU actually abandoned the running game early on, Pam. I expect that they'll come out here in this third quarter and try to hammer the football.
Hester had 4 carries for 12 yards. Keeneland Williams in the first half, 3 carries for 5 yards. Trenton Holiday did not carry the ball at all, was not thrown to. And LSU will see if they can open things up here in the second half. Going to the ground game again for the first down as Hester is able to drag David Skehan close to the 50-yard line. First half statistics, if the numbers bear out, the 10-9 LSU score. Look at that, -11 in rush yards because of a lot of sacks.
Yeah, that's just unheard of. And Tulane playing very well against the run, but also getting after the quarterback.
And you might have heard a cheer come up from the LSU crowd, and that is because Ryan Perilou has checked in at quarterback for the first time in this game. Perilou has been sharing duty, splitting time with Matt Flynn.
In that pistol formation.
And he takes it, hangs on to it. This is what Ryan Perilou can do for you that Flynn can't, and that is run for a first down. Skehan makes the stop as he is close to the first down marker.
Yeah, Perilou is a huge running threat as a quarterback. Now, he can throw the ball pretty well, too, but when they get him in there, the whole package is based around the quarterback running from that shotgun position, and that last play was just a little speed option to the edge. Perilou, nobody really put the pressure on him. He had a pitch man if he wanted to, but he wasn't there. And then Matt Flynn saying, yeah, my guy's in there. He's getting it done. We're working together on this thing.
Flynn is in after a couple of plays for Perilou. Matt Flynn right back in there, and the handoff to Hester, and he is hemmed in behind the line of scrimmage. Lost about a yard as the Greenway converged on him.
Yeah, it's the same play they ran previously in this drive where they pull Big Herman Johnson around to try and lead the way, but the defensive line kind of collapsed everything. And those same 2 guys, Harris and Williams, getting in on the plays.
And we saw briefly there Troy Wilson, who was Preston starting at linebacker today because David Kirksey, who usually starts in one of the linebacker spots, separated his shoulder during practice on Tuesday and is not playing. So 2nd and 11. Flynn in there out of the gun.
There's some confusion in the Tulane secondary right now.
Flynn with time fires it and has his man for the first down. That is Chris Mitchell. As Mitchell picks up 14 and another first down.
That was a nice throw by Matt Flynn right there. He put that one on the money. Just a little corner route, a little out route. Watch him step into this throw and bam, throw that thing right on the money. Perfect throw to the sideline. And now they're going to switch her up again.
As Perilou comes back into play quarterback, only 3 Tulane rushers on that last play, and Flynn had plenty of time for the completion. Charles Scott in the backfield, and there is the little guy, Trenton Holloway, number 8, but a flag is down before the play can get off the ground.
Yeah, the tight end moved early. Looked like Richard Dixon. Another pre-snap penalty.
Before the snap, ball start, number 89 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Actually, Zinger, the other tight end, who went early.
The numbers for the 2 quarterbacks, Perilou with the better completion percentage, as Flynn waiting patiently, a 5-year senior, played behind Jamarcus Russell the last couple of years. And there's been a lot of people in Baton Rouge who wanted Brian Perilou to get that starting job. He was a much valued player coming out of high school in La Crosse, Louisiana. Had some off-the-field trouble.
There's Holiday.
As Holiday squirts his way up the middle for the Tigers. Picks up 7 yards.
He is an exciting football player, just with the raw speed that he has on the one hand. And then the other thing is he's only 5'5". I mean, you don't see that very often for football players, especially especially at this level, to be able to play being that short. And he uses it as an advantage. He is hard to see for those linebackers when he's in that backfield behind that huge offensive line.
And he's lining up to the right of Ryan Perilou. Gets the ball again, this time going around the left side. He breaks free of a tackle and picks up another first down. Eshabellum tried to get him high, and Holiday just ran away from him.
Saron Black had a nice block to seal the edge, and then with Holiday's speed, he just blows outside and just rolls past everybody. You think you have an angle on him, and you don't. I mean, he's just too fast. Eshabellum thought he had an angle right there on him, you know, running to the edge, and Holiday just runs past you.
Now Holiday takes a break, 1st and 10 now from the about 11.5-yard line. Flynn in at quarterback. And that handoff good for maybe a yard to Jacob Hester.
You know, and I spoke about the size disparity. Holiday at 5'5", and then he's got his Herman Johnson at 6'7". Here's the two guys standing next to each other. How about that? That's just an amazing picture. And Holiday, it shows you the talent he has to be that small in stature and yet to be a major college football player and successful as he is. It shows you there's a lot of ways to get things done.
It helps that he can run a 100-meter dash in 10.06 seconds. Did that in the NCAA meet this year. And Flynn goes down again. This time, Evan Lee, the middle linebacker, with the sack. That's 5 sacks now for Tulane.
And Lyle hit the right guard, totally misses him. He doesn't come off his block. You're going to watch the guard right here. He's going to miss the linebacker when he comes through. See him, he kind of gets caught up on the inside guy, and he turns around afterwards. Oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to get that linebacker. Nobody touched Evan Lee.
One of the leaders on this team, returning starter from Miami, Florida, coming up with the 5th sack of Flynn in this game. And that brings LSU to a 3rd and 16. They have to get it inside the 2. They throw it underneath, and that's not going to get it done. Chris Mitchell hit as soon as he got the ball by Devin Holland, a true freshman from Ellenwood, Georgia.
Yeah, good hustle by Holland and Antonio Harris getting in at the end of that one. And that's that screen game that Gary Croton, the offensive coordinator for LSU, I call him the godfather of the screen game. He really kind of took it to new levels back when he was coaching at BYU and with the Chicago Bears. And they got a lot of different ways they like to run the screen.
Hope David in to try his 3rd field goal. This one from 33 yards out. And he has no trouble punching that through. So LSU, we finally saw Ryan Perilou in this drive. He alternated with Matt Flynn. They kept the ball on the ground for over 50 yards of chewing up yardage on the ground, and now they lead 13-9.
It has a 6-liter, 48-valve V12 engine with 510 horsepower, electronic active roll suspension, custom leather seats with 6 levels of massage, a voice command navigation system, and it all means nothing unless you have the right tires. For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
They are the sharpshooters, the rainmakers, the Mr. Big Shots. We set them up with strength, power, and free high speed, and assist their fadeaways with a dream team of sumptuous beds and linens as crisp and cool as the other side of the pillow.
Courtyard, redesigned by business travelers for business travelers.
Boom shakalaka.
And action.
GoDaddy is the world's #1 in domain names, like mine. ChadJohnson85.com.
Chad, is that in the script?
No, but hey, it's ChadJohnson85.com, and I got it at GoDaddy.
Cut.
.com names at GoDaddy are just $1.99. And visit ChadJohnson85.com.
Cut.
My bad. .com names for just $1.99.
Chad, Bob wants to see you and bring your script. Flight 73 has been canceled.
They're Supermen. Long-lasting.
The 19 Penguins in the Audubon Aquarium of the America's Colony survived Hurricane Katrina here in New Orleans thanks to the care of the animal staff and the New Orleans Police Department. The police used the aquarium as a communications base after the storm. One of the officers actually had a crash course in penguin feeding as the animal staff had to evacuate in the aquarium right around the Riverview area. They have a nice IMAX theater there, and things really coming back to life in downtown New Orleans. We got ourselves one heck of a football game. LSU up on Tulane 13-9. Colt David has just kicked another field goal. On that drive, 43 rush yards for LSU. The first half they were -11.
Yeah, I knew Les Miles was going to go back to the simple game of just running the football and trying to establish some physical nature.
Andrew Crutchfield kicks it off, taken by Fred Smith. And Smith is tackled down at the 20 where Tulane takes over. But now let's get back to the studio and Stan Barrett.
Okay, we got an update for you. Notre Dame and Purdue. Notre Dame, of course, still winless on the season. But they do have their first passing touchdown of the season. Casey Clausen and John Carlton for the touchdown. But the way it's going for Notre Dame this year, of course, they missed the extra point. And they're down 23-6.
We can't expect everything to happen, right, for Notre Dame, as they do finally get a score through the air. There's some crazy stuff happening in the Big Ten this afternoon. Northwestern beating Michigan, Illinois beating Penn State, and stands all over, of course, as Matt Forte breaks free. Matt Forte, over 300 yards on the ground last week against Southeastern Louisiana, gets 20 on that carry.
Boy, before this game, the LSU defense had only given up 3 runs more than 10 yards. Forte picks up 20 on this one, coming right at you. I talked about how he makes people miss in the hole. He made Craig Stelz totally whip with that little side shuffle and then exploded up through the hole.
He was a little guy. He had Emmett Jr. written on the back of his jersey when he played youth football. His dad, a Cowboys fan, and he not a bad guy to emulate, Emmitt Smith, as far as being a running back. And now Forte is really, as he loses the football, it was stripped. Forte with the carry, and LSU gets the fumble. Luke Sanders coming in and stripping the ball away from Forte.
Forte had a fumble last week as well. It was a different kind of play where he was trying to fight for extra yards. This one, he just doesn't feel the linebacker, Luke Sanders, on his outside, and he just does a great job of stripping the football and getting it out of there. And I don't think that Matt Forte knew that Sanders was there. Kind of surprised him and got that ball out of his hands.
Al Woods, the big defensive tackle, able to hop on the fumble, and LSU in good field position as they will start on Tulane's side of the field at the 48. And there is Sanders, Luke, the senior from West Monroe, Louisiana. Big weight room guy. His dad is a strength and conditioning coach, and he has passed it on to his son. Keelan Williams with the pitch, and Williams is a speed guy. You got to contain him from getting to the edge, and he shows you he can hurt you by picking up 13.
Yeah, he's so quick to the edge, and Adam Quintua had the contain on that one, but Keelan Williams just flew past him.
From Lafayette, played 9 games last year as a true freshman. Jacob Hester, the senior, getting the starting nod as Flynn is out. Perilou is back in to play quarterback for this play. Trendon Holiday also is on the field right behind Perilou, who goes the other way.
He's looking for his pitch man, but Holiday got the signal mixed up. He went to the left, Perilou went to the right.
There's going to be a hold against LSU on this play.
Holding, number 82 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
The tight end Richard Dixon, who got a lot of a jersey of a Tulane player on that busted play.
You can see him right there. The right hand is pulling that jersey, never let go. And they're going to call you if them hands get outside. You can definitely see the hand outside, up on that shoulder pad. When the numbers kind of get displaced in that jersey, somebody's got a hold of something.
Yeah, both schools wearing special jerseys. I know LSU fans aren't used to seeing these kind of jerseys. They don't wear purple often. Nike supplying the jerseys, with some of the proceeds going to charity. Flynn, all the time in the world to find Terrence Tolliver. And Tolliver all the way down the sideline, forced out of bounds inside the 5 by Troy Wilson.
LSU went to max protection, only had 2 guys out in the route. And Tolliver was open on the crossing route, but the key with the max protection is Matt Flynn has time. He's got all day to survey the field and let his man come open. And that was the difference between this play and what was happening in the first half. And LSU recruited some more guys to go ahead and pass block, only sending 2 out in the route.
He was marked out at the 6-yard line. First and goal from the 6. Charles Scott in the backfield. Flynn gives it to him. Scott puts his head down and head towards the end zone. But Joe Gooseby among the Green Wave defenders who denied him.
Yeah, Evan Lee, the middle linebacker, in that mix as well. This is what, to me, LSU does best, is pound the football at you. And I was a little surprised they didn't really try to do that in the first half. Second half, they'd come out and really have been establishing a physical style of football, running the football.
Now they have it 2nd and goal from the 1. 3 tight ends. Hester is the tailback. Sean Jordan the fullback. Hester gets it over the right side and again does not find the end zone. Julian Shive Sam's able to knife in there and cut him down before he crossed the goal line.
A good surge by that front from the Tulane defense. Everybody in the house knew it was just going to be another ISO play, slamming Hester up into that inside line, try and get him to push it into the end zone. Tulane got down low and stopped it. Probably see the same thing coming again.
3rd and goal from the 1. Untouched into the end zone for the LSU touchdown.
Boy, he had great blocking on the left side. They just collapsed the entire right side of the Tulane defense, and Hester just waltzed right in.
Hester's 2nd rushing touchdown of the game, and now LSU has opened up a 19-9 lead. Makes it 20-9. Matt Forte fumbling the ball away after a great strip by Luke Sanders. Sanders lodged it, or dislodged it. LSU picked it up, and an impressive drive capped by Jacob Hester's 2nd touchdown run of the game.
Introducing the revolutionary Kuro.
The all-wheel drive IS-250 confidently handles most any surface, even thousands of surfaces at once.
Get your weekly dose of NFL news and analysis from Boomer and the Gang. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
We do things different in Louisiana, from music to food. Now, we have our own local and long-distance statewide phone plan. And boy, is it different. Introducing Cox Unlimited Statewide Long Distance. Call family and friends anytime you want and talk as long as you want, anywhere in Louisiana. Just $14.99 a month for 12 months of home phone service and unlimited statewide long distance. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your same phone number. So keep on talking, Louisiana. You sound pretty good.
Provide your daughter with a night to remember by attending the first annual Purity Ball in downtown Baton Rouge, October 14th. featuring EMI Sparrow recording artist Britt Nicole. Britt will be speaking on purity following her show. Join Harvest and our co-sponsors by registering at purityballbr.com. We'll see you there.
We are in New Orleans, where it took nearly 3 months to remove 5,000 tons of damaged material and 3.8 million gallons of water from the Superdome and its garages. Then another 6 months of around-the-clock working to get the Superdome functioning in time for the football season. The roof, of course, peeled off during Hurricane Katrina, and the Superdome is spiffy and looking as good as new right about now.
Yeah, and it's a great symbol for the rebirth of this city.
And certainly, we will never forget the suffering that many people went through in this building. New Orleans is bouncing back. Auto Tuyo taken down definitively at the 16-yard line as we go back to Stan Barrett.
All right, Pam. SEC action, Mississippi and Georgia. Remember, Georgia coming off that win over Alabama last week, revitalized their season. Matthew Stafford, buying time, finds Muhammad Massaquoi for the touchdown. Great catch for Massaquoi. And Georgia taking the lead now, 14-10 on Mississippi.
Miss has been causing some trouble in the SEC, but Georgia going up. Looks like a beautiful day for football in Athens. And now we'll see how Tulane responds. Now down 20-9. Anthony Selfo, first start almost. Threw it to the purple guy. That's Derry Beckwith, the linebacker who drops back into coverage as we go down to Rob Simmelcare, who has a special guest.
All right, Pam, I'm here with SMG Vice President and Manager of the Superdome, Doug Thornton, who has been here for all that has happened here in the Superdome over the last couple of years. Thank you for joining us. When you think back on where this building was 2 years ago, what did it take to get to having a game like this and all the games that you guys have had here in the Superdome?
Well, it's taken a lot of hard work, dedication, and leadership by our elected officials and by our staff and all the people that have come together to make it happen.
What has it meant for this city now for a year to have this building back as an operating facility hosting games and big events?
Well, certainly it's a big economic boost for New Orleans, but you really can't put a price tag on it. It's such a symbol of hope. You know, the Superdome was a symbol of such tragedy and misery during Katrina. To be able to put it back together in such a quick way and be able to host these major events here is so significant to the psyche of the public, and it really serves as a symbol of our recovery.
And for those who don't know, in the New Orleans area, you, your wife, have been very much at the center of the rebuilding effort here because of your role in this building. What has it meant for you personally to be such an involved person in the recovery of this city?
Well, I think we're like every other citizen of New Orleans trying to struggle through this recovery. New Orleans means so much to us. We're citizens too, and we wanted to see this place come back. And certainly the Superdome is the centerpiece of our hospitality industry.
Okay, thank you very much. Pam?
Thank you, Rob. Craig Stelz with a terrific tackle on Brian King. And it was a 3rd and 2, and now Tulane will punt. The Superdome opened in 1975 with the big football capacity, hosted 6 Super Bowls, and again $193 million to repair it after the hurricane. The Saints had such a terrific year last year, 0-3 so far this year, as Chad Jones awaits Ross Teveno's punt. Fair catch, and he grabs it as his momentum carries him forward, but they're going to mark it at the 37-yard line. So New Orleans, one of the special cities in all of America, right now hosting this game that LSU leads 20-9.
New Q horsepower is here, and no leading synthetic oil delivers more power than Q horsepower, which is why it's recommended by Ferrari for every oil change. New Q horsepower. Unleash all your horses.
The all-wheel drive IS-250 almost any surface. Even thousands of surfaces at once.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a dog fan, Georgia dog fan. My brother's an Arkansas Razorback fan. Naturally, the dogs are better. But, you know, we have to bring them over to prove it every single time they play. Might as well have everybody else over, too. I am definitely the griller in the family. Must be good. I don't hear no talking over there. My thing is the grill. Anything grillable? See, they're clapping for me right now in the background. So they know I'm talking about being a grill master.
Now, Life Alert can also protect you in a fire emergency. Whether it's fire danger, a serious fall, or other type of emergency, Life Alert is there for you.
Thanks to Life Alert, you can live alone without ever being alone. And that's why I wear one.
All senior citizens should have Life Alert.
Please call 1-800-233-0500 for free information about Life Alert, or visit us on the web at the address on your screen.
High-powered offenses face off as a pair of dynamic duos look to let it fly in Cincy. ESPN Monday Night Football. Patriots-Bengals at 8:30.
This telecast is being broadcast in high definition, available on ESPN2 HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. That's a great sight in HD TV as you look downtown portion of New Orleans and the Superdome. LSU flexing its muscle a little bit here in the second half to take the lead as Trendon Holiday. That's a nice tackle by James Dillard. It's Holiday. If you miss him, he could be gone.
Long gone with that 10.02 speed.
LSU has now scored on 3 straight possessions after only 1 score on its first 7 possessions. And there's a little Holiday at 5'5". World-class sprinter speed.
And they started to ground it out, like I mentioned, Pam. In the second half of the 15 plays they've run, 12 of them runs, only 3 of them passes.
Offense struggled mightily in the first half. Little play action as Flynn rolls. Looking for LaFell, who comes back on the ball and can't come up with it. Let's go back to Stan Barrett in the studio.
All right, Pam, Michigan and Northwestern battling in Evanston. Chad Henne back in the game at quarterback now to Carson Butler for the touchdown. But Northwestern, which lost 58-7 last week to Ohio State, still leading the Wolverines 16-14.
Northwestern also a couple of weeks ago lost to Duke, which had lost 22 straight football games. What's going on in the Big Ten?
I don't know about this Big Ten just yet. It's going to be interesting. That Michigan State-Wisconsin game might shed some light on things.
Some clarification. Flynn hangs in there, gets hit, but is able to get it away and complete it to Demetrius Byrd for the Tiger first down.
And again, Matt Flynn with protection. Go ahead and let that thing run. And watch the protection. He's not going to have anybody. Go ahead and let it run, fellas. There's going to be no pressure on him. I mean, just a 3-man rush. He gets hit at the end, but he has enough time to deliver the ball where it needs to be. I'm telling you, Bird almost dropped that when he took his eyes off it right at the end. He was fortunate he hung on to it.
Bird, his first year here, played at Pearl River Community College as Perilou is back in. He has been alternating during series with Flynn in this half. There he goes. They missed Holiday, and he made him pay for it. The flag is down, but Holiday all the way down to the 35 of Tulane as we check out the flag.
And he's not just a fast guy. He's got some power to him as well.
Football play.
Holding, number 70 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot to beat the down.
That is Saron Black, sophomore out of Tyler, Texas. Went to the same high school, in fact, played with Matt Flynn. And that negates the Holiday gain.
14 penalties on the day for the LSU Tigers, 11 of those in the first half. And that's really been a large part as to why Tulane has been able to stay in this ball game.
One of the penalties led directly to a Tulane score, a holding penalty in the end zone that gave Tulane a safety. At one point, Tulane led this game 9-7, and there you see Matt Flynn starting to turn things around.
Yeah, that's because the running game is working.
Funny how that happens. Now facing a 1st and 20 after the latest penalty. Flynn with time, steps up, fires, and it is intercepted. David Skihan. He walked on after playing high school in the Bronx. Didn't know where Tulane was. Now he's starting and is the leading interceptor on this team.
And Les Miles and his group got a little greedy. I don't understand why they just don't keep running the football and pounding it down. Instead, they want to take a chance, throw it deep, and Flynn throws it right into double coverage, and Skihan steps in front and takes it away, his 3rd pick of the day.
3 interceptions on the season, leading Conference USA for Skihan.
There's no reason for LSU to go ahead and take a shot like that. They've been very successful running the football the previous couple of drives. They come out in that last drive and try to throw it again, and it doesn't work for them.
As they were looking for Demetrius Bird, Forte turns the corner, cuts it up, and then runs into Craig Stelz for about a 5-yard gain. Let's go down to the field. Rob Simmelcare has more on David Skihan.
Pam, you mentioned that Skihan walked on here at Tulane, and you hear that term a lot about guys who the coaches knew, but Skihan literally showed up at Tulane, a complete unknown. In fact, he came to Tulane from New York City. He grew up in the Bronx, and he says he came to Tulane because he thought there were beaches here. He's that kind of a guy, really an off-the-wall character. He had only applied to one college, and his high school guidance counselor told him, you got to apply to some other colleges. So he applied to Tulane on a whim, and with his 3.98 GPA, he got in. He's quite a character.
He is, as Luke Sanders makes a stop on Forte, and Skihan coming up with the interception. He said he had to beg to get back onto his high school football team his senior year because he overslept and missed the game.
Yeah, get a new alarm clock, David. But, you know, he's a fun guy because he came here and when they did the strength test, the bench press, his max was 225, which is the weight they use to test guys. But he looked around, he said, you know what, I can do this. And he put his mind and his body to work, and now he's the strongest defensive backfield person that they have.
Selfo with a free play on an offsides, and elects to go to Forte underneath, who gets the 1st down for Tulane. 21 yards. Tyson Jackson was way offsides.
And I think you're going to see Matt Forte play at the next level.
Offside, number 93 on the defense. That penalty is declined. 1st down.
He's had a lot of NFL scouts come to see him as Matt Forte, telling him mostly to work on his blocking and doing the stuff when he doesn't have the ball in his hands.
Right, but the thing that he brings, as well as the great running ability, is he's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. I mean, that play right there shows you that.
He's taking a rest. Andre Anderson is in to play tailback. He's faked to, his Selfo rolls, looks, finds his guy, waited patiently for Gabe Ratcliffe to get open, and the tight end tackled all the way down after a 24-yard gain.
And the key was getting Anthony Selfo, not his Uncle Chris, on the edge. He rolls out, now he can see down the field, and he's got the time to throw, and he's very athletic. He throws a strike on the run right there.
Selfo told us yesterday that he doesn't think he's a very good football player unless he plays with emotion. He's a very fiery guy, and that's one reason why he is starting over Scott Elliott. Elliott also was really struggling to complete passes. As Anderson gets the handoff and is stopped for virtually no gain. Selfo plays baseball and football for Tulane. Last year, he scored a touchdown against LSU, and how sweet must this have been? He's the left fielder on the baseball team, and he hit a home run, and Tulane beat LSU. That is a great baseball rivalry, Tulane with a terrific baseball program.
Yeah, and we asked him what would be better, a touchdown or a home run. He said definitely the touchdown because it's a lot more other people involved in it, and it would mean a lot more.
Plenty of time, but then good coverage downfield. Now it is intercepted. He tried to float it to Jordan Stephanie, his fullback, and a mistake by Selfo.
Travis Jackson just kept alive in the play. I think Selfo thought he was going to throw that thing out of bounds, or his guy only could get to it. But because Jackson finished it down and stayed with it, he's able to come up with a huge takeaway right there. Little juggle, got possession, got the feet in. Nice play. And Selfo's obviously disappointed.
Jackson with the interception. That's 3 turnovers now for Tulane. Second pick of the season for Chevis Jackson.
Tigers just take the ball away from you. I mean, they do so many things on defense, but that might be the best one.
And now Richard Murphy in the backfield gets it for the Tigers. They can run so many guys at you. 7 different players ran the ball in last week's win against South Carolina, and that did not include David Cole taking in the fake for the touchdown.
They do have a lot of weapons on that offense, and they got to keep the ball on the ground, in my opinion. I think they're superior in the running game. They've gotten into trouble in this game when they've tried to throw the football, both with the pressure from the front 4 of the Tulane defense, and then also the play in the defensive secondary with Skihan's interception.
So LSU keeping the ball on the ground more in the third quarter, scored 10 points. They lead Tulane as we head to the fourth, 20-9.
The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup is on ABC tomorrow at 1 Eastern.
Have a real meal for lunch. Come to KFC for any of our new $2.99 deals. World-famous chicken, choice of a side, and a flaky biscuit. A real deal for lunch for just $2.99 at KFC.
Yours is here.
That I make me who I am. I am Gilbert Arenas, and my moves are my DNA. NBA Live 08, rated E for everyone. EA Sports, it's in the game.
Confidently handles most any surface, even thousands of surfaces at once.
How's that feel? Great. Get ready for the game. Watch SportsCenter Monday kickoff with an original ice-cold Miller Lite. Good call for Monday night.
The number 1 defense in the country is led by Glenn Dorsey. The LSU Tigers coming into this game first in points allowed, first in rushing yards, first overall. And there you see the rank also in passing yards. They are the best defense going in the country. Bo Pelini, the defensive coordinator, leading the charge. So much talent, a lot of depth as well. And they came up with an interception to set up this drive as Richard Murphy gets the carry again, picking up 7.
Yeah, and defense can win you a championship, Pam. There's no doubt about it. You know, you look at the teams that have won national championships in the last 9 years, and every one of them had a top 10 defense. So, you know, that makes it, in terms of scoring, that to me is the #1 stat. You can have all the stats you want. The #1 thing is how many points are you letting up, and so far they lead the country in that regard.
Coming into this game, only giving up 5.8 points per game, as Murphy has become the feature back on this drive. And he doesn't get anything as we go back for another update from Stan Barrett.
All right, Pim, Oklahoma and Colorado. The Buffaloes managed 156 yards in their last 2 meetings with Oklahoma combined. But they get 25 here and a touchdown from Hugh Charles. And they tie it at 7. Oklahoma responds. Alan Patrick from 34 yards away. Look at the move. And then into the end zone. Oklahoma trying to make it 6 straight over the Buffs. They lead 14-7.
Continues to try to bring the Buffaloes back as Perilou is into the game now to play quarterback. And we talked about those last 10 defensive champions, and or the last 8, excuse me, all of them, as you mentioned, Ray, in the top 10 in defense.
Yeah, and defense wins championships. That's an old football cliche, but it's true. And otherwise, it wouldn't be a cliche. And you look at the rankings of the teams that won it all, and they get it done on defense. And that's why this LSU football team, to me, has a chance to be the #1 team when the smoke all clears at the end of the season.
They're number 2 right now behind the USC completion to Brandon LaFell for the first down into Tulane territory after a 12-yard pickup.
Oh, yeah, that's just the manifestation of the 2-quarterback system right there. Worked to perfection by Les Miles and his offense. They roll in there. They get Perilou. He runs a couple of times, and they put Flynn in there, and he throws a bullet. And that's the mix that they've become successful with.
LaFell again limping off towards the sideline. We've seen him do that a couple of times today as Flynn continues as the quarterback. First down from the 43 of Tulane, pitches it to Charles Scott. And Scott is close to another first down. And the 2-quarterback system is something that a lot of coaches hate it. Some coaches swear by it. Where do you stand on it?
I think if you got 2 really good ones, you're crazy not to do it. And especially with the different packages that each of these guys has. And with Flynn with the bad ankle, he's limited in his running ability a little bit. And you got Perilou. You know, put him in there and let him run the football in those quarterback-assigned runs. And he can throw the ball as well. So it just makes defenses have so much more to prepare for.
Florida last year winning the national championship. Chris Leak and then Tim Tebow came in, and now it's Tebow's show to run, and he's having a terrific year. Boy, Flynn is hit just as he released the football. Reggie Scott and Frank Morton both getting in on him. But fortunately for LSU, there was no Tulane defender around to snag it.
And they're getting it done up front with just extra effort and hustle. Both those guys were blocked initially, but watch them keep fighting and finish a play and go ahead and get a piece of the quarterback. This Tulane football team, even though they're down a little bit more now here in this second half, they are still fighting hard, and that's half the battle. And you got to give Bob Toledo a lot of credit for that in terms of waking up that fighting spirit for the Tulane football program.
He's a very positive guy, and it seems to have caught on with his team. 3rd and short, and they get it. Scott breaking free. Charles Scott headed towards the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown LSU. LSU is starting to break it open here in the second half.
And that was just the acceleration of Charles Scott, because there was a nice little hole there, but he hit it quick and was vertical right up the field and basically outran everybody who had an angle on him. Nobody got a good shot at it.
David knuckles that one through. It's 27-9 LSU. This time Charles Scott with the damage.
And keeping it on the ground. That's where they've had their success. Charles Scott wears him down, makes that one move, and then he's off to the races into the end zone, and LSU is looking like a number 2 right now.
This is where I grew up, and where my parents still live. They did everything for me. Provided for my education, got me started. That's why I want to make sure that this home will always be theirs, that their needs will be taken care of. and that their future will be as bright as the future they gave me.
At John Hancock, we have the insurance, investment, and retirement products to help build, protect, and sustain the future you promised yourself. John Hancock, the future is yours.
Visa PayWave. Now there are more places and more ways to pay. Faster. Life takes Visa.
Power tools have evolved. The new lithium Ryobi 1 Plus tools work at full power twice as long with a battery that fits all your other 1 Plus tools. Ryobi 1 Plus. Pro features, affordable prices. You'll find them only at the Home Depot.
When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Professional driver on a closed course. Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Touareg 2 V6 for only $399 a month.
One of the most popular streets, well-known streets in America. It is Bourbon Street in the French Quarter in New Orleans. Always plenty to do and has a reputation as a drinking town. But this is an A #1 class AAA and at least eating town, right?
Oh, you ain't never lied about that.
Some food in New Orleans.
You can't get a bad meal around here.
And we've been trying. We're going to continue that quest tonight to see if we can find one. I doubt that we will. Pam Ward along with Ray Bentley. Rob Simmelcare is here. Craven Martin, our director. Jonathan Lebovich, our producer. And LSU starting to open it up a little bit here, at least score-wise in the second half, up 27-9. Shannon Davis with the kick return. And he is wrestled out of bounds around the 26 as we go back to Stan Verrett.
All right, Pam, let's check in on some other SEC teams. Mississippi State at South Carolina. Anthony Dixon got shut down in that game against LSU, but he's been over 100 yards per game since then, and he punches that one in. And Mississippi State looking for its third win on the road, leading 21-17 at South Carolina. Georgia leading Ole Miss 17-10. Matthew Stafford just under 100 yards, and Andre Woodson 4 touchdown passes, and Kentucky beating Florida Atlantic 28-10.
Andre Woodson and company look like they're going to be 5-0 as they get into the heart of the SEC schedule after this, as Matt Forte gets the carry. Mississippi State beat Tulane in week 1, 38-17.
But we talked about LSU having Florida coming up next week, but the week after that, they go to Kentucky, and that's not going to be an easy one either. So they've got plenty of things that they might have been looking forward to. Very sloppy in the first half, but they've cleaned it up and kind of taken control of this ball game here in the second half.
A lot of people talking about the Heisman Trophy, and one of the guys I think on the field right now should be mentioned and never is, as Selfo floats that one high, and it's incomplete. Glenn Dorsey is such a great player for LSU, and is supposed to go to the best collegiate player out there. Mel Kiper says he's the best, has him #1 on his big board for drafting. So why shouldn't Glenn Dorsey be mentioned for a Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. You know, there's too many other great college football players that have statistics that people love to claim.
Because they're offensive guys,
exactly.
But that's not fair, Ray.
No, it's not. And
you're a defensive guy.
I think the whole thing of picking one guy is the best guy. Rarely are you going to get that one exact.
And they rarely do. Selfo sacked, taken down by Raheem Alem. Some of the second stringers getting in now for LSU, as Dorsey was not on the field as we were talking about him. And Selfo is sacked. LSU has 3 of them on the day, and here comes another punt.
Yeah, just a little power rush on the outside, and, you know, we talked about Matt Forte doing the things to help when he doesn't have the football, and he should have chipped on that block, and he didn't. He kind of let Raheem Alem through.
7-0. Short punt takes an LSU roll. and is down at the 45-yard line. At one point, Tulane was leading in this game 9-7, but Glenn Dorsey and the rest of the LSU guys flexing their muscles up 27-9.
I'm walking.
You get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
I was singing.
Do we send out those STPs? Yeah. Gosh, why are we filling ourselves up with just anything? We deserve hot, juicy junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's. It's delicious.
And it only costs 99 cents. Filling up with just anything? That's wrong.
Wait.
Getting big taste for only 99 cents? That's right. Like the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger with fresh, never frozen beef, or our 5-piece crispy chicken nuggets made with all white meat. Wendy's.
That's right.
Get your weekly dose of NFL news and analysis from Boomer and the Gang. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
The Junior League of Baton Rouge is proud to unwrap Holidays 2007, October 11th through 13th at the River Center. Start your Christmas shopping early with over 100 unique merchants from across the country, plus incredible food. For tickets and information, visit holidays.org and get your raffle tickets for a chance to win a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge, or win a men's or women's Rolex from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Holidays 2007, October 11th through 13th. Unwrap the fun.
I've driven and owned most all the other brands, and this is the strongest truck available.
The two other trucks I owned were good trucks, but they can't compare to this Tundra. I've owned American trucks before. It was easy to switch over to Toyota.
I've driven other trucks in the past, but nothing's quite like my brother's Tundra. Everyone in our family drives a Toyota these days.
My grandfather was a Chevy man, but if he were still here today, I'm sure he would be a Tundra man.
Buy a new 07 Tundra and get 0 APR for 60 months, or take $3,000 cash back. Tundra, the truck that's changing it all.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
In one of the places that you want to go to get a good meal in New Orleans, how about Clancy's? We were there the other night. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, a little smoked soft-shell crab. You can't beat that with a stick.
Oh, there's so much to do in this town, so many great restaurants, great city to visit. As Murphy gets the carry, we've seen quite a bit of Richard Murphy on the ground in this half. Now, 3 carries for 22 yards.
And they have such a stable of running backs. It's just not one guy for LSU. I mean, it's a whole bunch of guys. And you see the rushing by quarter, and they really took over in that second half, put it on the ground, and changed the nature of this football game.
LSU, like last week against South Carolina, has used 7 different rushers today, including Murphy, who has been more featured here in the second half.
I think any one of those guys, you give them 25, 30 carries a game, and you're going to have a Heisman candidate.
Flynn, back to pass, runs out of time, and again is sacked. Matt Flynn taken down by Antonio Harris, coming up with the sack.
And Harris is relentless in his pass rush. He just never gives up on a down. And you're going to see him up top. He's working. He's still working. He's still working. Finally ends up making a football play. He had 3 sacks last week. He's got 2 on the day. And he's just been an outstanding force on defense. Has 3 hits on Matt Flynn as well. And he's been the source of most of the pressure on Flynn today.
6 sacks for this Tulane defense. So now 3rd and 8. Flynn gets an easy first down. Demetrius Byrd left alone. Turns on the Jets. And is knocked out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Josh Dumar did a good job of not giving up on the play and saving the touchdown.
And that's the kind of thing we expected to see coming into today's game, where the speed from LSU, the Tulane just couldn't match up with it. And you get a good look at that right here as Byrd makes this catch, and then he's just off and running. Doesn't quite make it to the end zone, but I think the run helped open up the passing game here for the Tigers, and that might be a good lesson for Les Miles and Gary Crowton and this offense. They need to establish that first.
That was a 40-yard gain as Bird was hit out of bounds at the 3.
Timeout, Tulane. That's their first timeout of the second half.
So timeout on the field with Tulane having given up 20 straight points to LSU. They trail it now 27-9 to the second-ranked team in the country that has a night game coming up next Saturday as Florida comes to Baton Rouge. So LSU struggling in the first half, showing some life here in the second.
And it started with the running game with Jacob Hester pounding it in. Then they played some defense, got some takeaways there. The interception by Jackson. And they were just able to turn it on, and basically the strength that they had. And that was the main advantage that they had, was the power and the strength of their football team. And they finally got to that part of it in terms of running the football and pushing people around on the football field. And look at this upcoming schedule for the LSU Tigers. We talked about a little bit, Pam. Florida coming up next Saturday night. Then they're at Kentucky after that. Then home against Auburn. And then at Alabama, where they get to meet Nick Saban and his Crimson Tide. So a nice little scheduling run there for the Tigers. We'll find out about them for sure.
Glenn Dorsey taking a break on the sidelines for the Tigers. 3 tight ends in for LSU, trying to punch it in from the 3. And they do just that. Charles Scott into the end zone for a second rushing touchdown of the day.
That's just straight up power football.
Bob Toledo's team coming in. He said it was a 1 in a million chance that they could win this game. They led it 9-7. But LSU going back to some basics here in the second half, starting to run away with it. Hope David puts up their 34th points of the game. So it's 34-9 LSU. Let's go back to Stan Barrett.
All right, Pam, Michigan and Northwestern. Northwestern up 16-14, but Chad Henne to Adrian Arrington. And the Wolverines take the lead again. It's 21-16. Henne with 3 touchdowns in the game so far. Penn State and Illinois. Illinois up 27-20 right now. They just added a field goal. It really has been with a pair of touchdowns in this one. And Evan Sharpley's come on in relief for Jimmy Clausen. A pair of touchdown passes for him. Notre Dame climbing back in this one now. 26-18. Purdue leads at home.
And how about that? Indiana beating Iowa. Saw that on the bottom line. How crazy.
Yeah, the Big Ten is kind of in a state of flux, and you don't really know who the good teams are, at least all of them yet. And they're a little bit down this year, I think, in the Big Ten. I don't know that that conference is as powerful as they usually are. As you see the yards by half, and LSU really getting it done in the second half.
Buttoning down the LSU defense. 79 yards allowed here in the second half. Tulane only 2 first downs. And they've also turned the ball over twice while being shut out. LSU in those purple jerseys. As the Katrina relief effort continues to be a collective effort between these 2 schools. Over 58,000 people in attendance to see this game. Shannon Davis again with the kickoff return. Well, lost the ball momentarily, but a teammate picks it up at the 20, and that is where Tulane will take over. And even though this game is starting to slip away for Tulane, Bob Toledo knows how important this game is for the entire region.
It's a chance for us to get the city together. It's a chance to bring the whole state of Louisiana together. And then it's an opportunity for us to make some money to give back to the city and to help rebuild it.
Toledo in his very first year here says he's adjusting to life in New Orleans. He's a West Coast guy. We have a new quarterback, Kevin Moore, coming in. Toledo giving the redshirt freshman a chance to play, and he hands it off to Andre Anderson, who loses 1. Now, this series rivalry's history has been going on forever. 96th time these two teams have played. They've been going at it since 1893, here and there. And it's a 15-game winning streak for LSU. Tulane has not won since 1982 in this rivalry. That was quite an upset, and these two teams going to continue to play. They are. This is the second of a 10-game series alternating between Baton Rouge and New Orleans.
And Bob Toledo hopes that it can turn back into a rivalry, at least on the football field.
So Kevin Moore now quarterbacking the Green Wave. And that pass is incomplete. Looking for Gabe Ratcliffe. Let's go down to the field again and Rob Simmelcare.
Well, Pam, you mentioned the 10-year deal between these schools to play each other, and this is kind of a mutually beneficial deal they've got. You know, Tulane's got their biggest home crowd of the season here, so they're making some nice revenue off of this, and LSU loves coming over here. It's a short road trip for them. They have a hard time scheduling non-conference opponents at the D1 level, and they get a nice chunk of ticket revenue from this game as well, so it's really a win-win. A lot of LSU fans were skeptical of it because they didn't want to do anything to help Tulane, their in-state rival, but it's working out well for both schools.
That pass is complete. Moore picks up the first down as Brian King grabs it and heads all the way past the 40-yard line. Chris Hawkins makes the stop. Of course, there's a lot of LSU fans all over the state. This is what they're playing for. They call it the rag, and this piece of cloth will go to the winner. LSU's been hanging on to it for 15 years.
Yeah, they actually had to make a new rag back in 2001. The old one got lost, and so when they restarted the rivalry, they came up with a new one.
One thing about this game, an 11 a.m. local kickoff, and Tulane, one of the things that they wanted to do was start kicking off later in the day. A lot of their games kicking off around 6 local time. That pass is incomplete because I probably don't need to tell you this. New Orleans is not especially known as being an early-to-rise kind of town.
Yeah. Stay out all night, and, and you see the sunrise.
Right. Roll into an 11 a.m. game as you're coming home. So it is a relatively early start, but boy, this is a great football state, and a lot of fans in this area. Tough to get tickets up to see them play in Baton Rouge, so a lot of them deciding to come to the Superdome. The Tulane students are here with the body paint. That's a very good school, by the way. Tulane is, that's another thing Bob Toledo is up against, getting, you have to be a very good student to get into this school as a timeout is taken by Tulane.
All right, they call it the Stanford of the South.
So Toledo, first year in charge of Tulane, they put up a valiant fight, but now lead 34-9.
I am so pleased to be informing you that you have won the lottery in the Republic of Afghanistan. If you want a great abundance and magnitude of money, all I need to transact this transaction is a small processing fee to be required. Simply cash this check, a portion of your winnings, and pay the fee. Then I will effect payment swiftly.
Whatever. Scams like these don't work as well in person. That's why most of them are done online. Learn how to protect yourself at fakechecks.org.
In more places. That's what you can expect from the new AT&T, the largest digital voice and data network in America. So switch to the network you can trust. AT&T, your world delivered.
I'm walking.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
For each of us, there's a moment of discovery. We understand that all of life is elemental. And as we marvel at element bonding with element, we soon realize that when you add the human element to the equation, everything changes. Suddenly, all of chemistry illuminates humanity, and all of humanity illuminates chemistry. The human element. Nothing is more fundamental, nothing more elemental.
Welcome back to New Orleans. Last night, the dynamic duo of Steve Slayton and Pat White shut down by South Florida. As you take a look at the top 5 teams in the nation, we'll show you the top 4 because West Virginia is not going to be number 5 next week. Congratulations to Jim Leavitt in South Florida. So this is what these teams have coming up.
Yeah, there's some great key games coming up. And I don't know. I think you're going to have at least 3 undefeated teams at the end of the year this year, and it's going to create a lot of problems. A lot of people talking about maybe a different system for trying to find, the number 1 team, maybe a +1 system, because I really do think you're going to have a handful of teams, at least 3 and maybe as many as 5 undefeated teams when you get down to the end. You see some of these big ones. We talked about LSU, the ones that they have coming up. Those next 2 with Florida and Kentucky, we're going to find out all about these Tigers for sure.
Florida also has Kentucky in the next couple of weeks. Ryan Perilou and Matt Flynn sharing quarterbacking duties here in the second half. But that South Florida team down in Tampa making major noise in Conference USA. Brian King can't bring it in. Let's go back to the studio and Stan Barrett.
All right, Mississippi State and South Carolina have been back and forth all afternoon. Chris Smelly, Steve Spurrier went with him as a starting quarterback today, and it's paying off. South Carolina back on top now, 24-21 pair of touchdown passes for Smelly. Ole Miss and Georgia knotted up at 17 right now, and Kentucky with 4 touchdown passes from Andre Woodson leading Florida Atlantic 28-10.
All right, Ole Miss continuing to play tough in Athens. So plenty of time left as a flag is down on this play as we approach 6 minutes left to go in this football game.
And you can kind of feel the air has kind of been let out of that Tulane Green Wave football team after the great emotional first half Bob Toledo's guys played. And that was probably the thing that you would expect. I thought they'd come out and give them a good shot, but wouldn't be able to sustain it. And that's part of the strength that...
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 33 on the kicking team. That 10-yard penalty will be tacked on to the return, 1st and 10.
To finish up that thought, man, that's just part of the strength, raw strength of the LSU football team.
Tulane, a member of Conference USA, actually were in the SEC from 1933 to 1965. Played in a couple of Sugar Bowls and now Conference USA. That's where South Florida used to play. South Florida now one of the powers in the Big East with a big win over number 5 West Virginia last night. So it's shaping up to be a very interesting college football season that would be so much better if there were a playoff. Perilou in to play quarterback for LSU. They're going to keep it on the ground. Richard Murphy takes it right up the gut for 7 yards. Reggie Scott making the stop. LSU wearing the purple jerseys with the new style and the white helmets. And we're going to... Tulane, by the way, will wear these uniforms as their road uniform for the rest of the season, but we don't expect LSU to wear these special Nike uniforms after today.
Yeah, they're going straight to the auction block to raise some more funds.
That's why they're doing it, to raise money to help youth sports programs that have been so depleted here in Louisiana. As Murphy slips down, loses a couple on that carry.
Yeah, Turf Monster got him.
And there is the pelican, which is a state bird of Louisiana, and they have him looking more like a phoenix, which is the rising from the ashes analogy for this part of the country as they continue to rebuild. Baton Rouge was spared from Katrina's wrath, but a lot of people up there were affected because a lot of people from this New Orleans area went up and stayed with people in that area. Marcus Russell put some people up, and he was a quarterback. As Murphy switches the ball to his other hand and picks up the first down.
Yeah, it really affected everybody in this whole state, even in the whole South.
And not just Louisiana affected, folks in Mississippi and Alabama also. And there is the monument in downtown New Orleans by the river, actually, dedicated to the victims and the survivors. Not just Katrina, but Rita also came through about 4 weeks later, and it was just a brutal time to be in this part of the country. And you see the population has been downgraded, fewer public schools, fewer hospitals, many fewer buses running in New Orleans after after Katrina, just a totally different city. And there are still portions in the much talked about, much photographed 9th Ward that look like the storm hit yesterday.
Yeah, there's some areas that are still in rough shape, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of other areas, Pam, that have recovered almost to, back to pre-storm capacity, in particular downtown here, where if you come down just to the downtown area, the French Quarter, it's really back up to full speed. I recommend and encourage people who have come down here in the past, hey, it's open, come on down again. If you haven't ever been down here, come on down, because you're missing a good time.
Great time. Richard Murphy up and walking off the field. And remember, January 7th of next year, the Sugar Bowl is going to be in this very building, and LSU hopes to be back here.
It'll all be decided right here. And the last time the national championship game was held here, 2003, LSU won that one over Oklahoma.
It will be the All-State Sugar Bowl and the BCS National Championship game coming up January 7th of 2008. In this city, that's going to be quite a showdown here, whether LSU is in it or not. Harold going up top, has a man, but he floated it, actually underthrew Demetrius Byrd.
Boy, he had him too.
Boy. As Josh Lumar, we've seen him make a couple of good plays back there today, as he just was able to go up and knock down that ball that stayed up in the air for a long time.
Tulane has a pretty good defense. You can see Perilou, he's got time to make this throw, and he just didn't quite put enough mustard on that one, because Byrd was definitely behind the Tulane defense.
Lumar with a good job to knock the ball down. Now 2nd and 10. Perilou pitches it to Scott. Charles Scott, who has a couple of touchdown runs today, is stopped by Reggie Scott on the other side of the ball.
You see him run that little pistol offense.
Let's go to Stan Barrett, who has another update for us. Stan.
All right, Pam, just when Notre Dame was climbing back into the game, they had cut it to 26-19 with Evan Sharpley in with a pair of touchdowns. But Curtis Painter to Dustin Keller. 2nd touchdown pass for Painter in the game, and it's back to a 14-point lead for the Boilers.
Boy, that's a great combination. Those two guys, Keller, the tight end, and Painter. You mentioned him earlier today. His numbers are just unbelievable this season.
Yeah, I've seen on the updates 2 more touchdown passes at least, so that'll put him up to 18 on the year against just 1 interception coming into today's game.
Painter, a big, strong quarterback, just a junior in eligibility. Perilou again. Does he miss him again? Yes, he does. This time he overthrows Demetrius Byrd.
And he threw that one a long way in the air. That one about 47 yards in the air, and he knew he had underthrown the previous one, so he's going to put everything he has into this one, step up and let it fly. Threw it at the 45 all the way down to about the 4-yard line. That's a pretty good long toss, but he thought he had one.
Now he's just got to split the difference. The underthrow and then the overthrow. Perilou, a terrific high school prospect coming out. ESPN, in fact, called him the #1 prospect in the nation when he came out of high school in La Place, Louisiana.
Well, he got into some trouble in the offseason. He used a fake identification to try and get into a casino, and Les Miles said, your mind ain't where it needs to be, and suspended him for the course of the summer. And Perilou responded well. He took care of his business off the field, and so he was reinstated at the start of training camp this past fall and worked his way up to where he's getting equal time. Well, not quite equal time with Matt Flynn, but he certainly has become a part of the offense and the dual quarterback system that they're running.
On the field, a delay has been called against LSU. Their 15th penalty. It was 4th down anyway, and this time they get a little bit more breathing room for their punter, Fisher.
This will be good for Les Miles' football team with all the mistakes that they made here today. And, they got Florida coming up. It'll give him a lot of things to motivate guys with and get them to button down for that big one coming up. And they didn't have to learn those lessons through a loss.
Actually, it's Josh Jasper in for his first punt, as Fisher had been punting, and it's killed around the 10-yard line. The Patriots take on the Bengals Monday night. Tom Brady looks to keep the New England offense rolling. Here's Mike Tirico.
They've made the biggest statement to start the 2007 season. Tom Brady, Randy Moss, and the Patriots are perfect. The high-powered offense of Carson Palmer and Chad Johnson awaits in Cincinnati. Patriots Bengals at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
heading up, and you see the touchdown pass leaders. You got 2 of them right in that there ball game, Palmer and Grady. As Anderson is buried under. So Tulane led in this game 9-7 in the second quarter. And their defense was especially stout in the first half. But LSU, so deep, so much talent, just kind of wearing them down in here in the second half.
Yeah, and they went to the running game, and that made all the difference, because that's where they took advantage of that strength that they have. And they just kind of powered it down and wore down that Tulane defense, although give them credit, they kept fighting the whole time.
Tulane with the loss will go to 1-3 overall. They travel to play at Army next week on ESPNU. That's a big hole that closed in a hurry for Anderson. Stan Barrett's going to get us up to date on another game. Stan.
All right, Stan, Michigan and Northwestern, the Wildcats have been hanging in there, but Mike Hart trying to help put them away. Hart with a 20-yard run, set up his own touchdown run. Hart averaging 164 yards per game, closing in on his 24th 100-yard game, and the Wolverines up by 12.
Thank you, Stan. As there's been a lot of speculation from Michigan folks. Remember Les Miles right here for LSU as their head coach, is a Michigan grad, and after Lloyd Carr lost his first 2 ball games, or his team lost their first 2 ball games, his name has popped up as a possible successor to Lloyd, if indeed they decide to pull the switch and go with a coaching change.
Yeah, and Les said he learned very early on as a head football coach that you don't deal with that kind of crud, is what he called it, during the course of a season. That being said, however, he played and coached under Bo, and he said he reveres Bo Schembechler, thinks about him nearly every day, and I think it's in there that he's got in his mind that wouldn't be a bad place for him to be at some point, but he said he never really projected himself as the Michigan coach.
He said he never thought his coaching road would end in Ann Arbor, but he is from Ohio originally. His Holiday is snowed under, loses the football, and then picks it up. Holiday stopped at the 35, so Miles is from the Midwest, and he's done a great job here at LSU. In fact, his first couple of years better than anybody else. He's 26-4 in his 3rd year. First 2 years, 22-4 with 13 wins in the SEC, 8 wins over top 25 teams, 12 NFL draft picks, 4 first-team All-Americans. I mean, he's done it all at LSU except win a national championship.
Yeah, and he really thinks he's got a chance with this football team. And one of the things that he spoke about was, this team is close. They're a very close-knit group. And we talked to a lot of the players, and they said the same thing, that nothing's sacred. They're busting each other's chops all the time, and they just really enjoy being together. And if you can get that going and add that kind of feeling to the talent that they have and the speed that they have, you really do have a legitimate chance to win it all.
Charles Scott with the carry, and close-knit teams, obviously so important. You play for the Buffalo Bills, and you have that feeling with your defense.
Yeah, it was like being with family the whole time, and it's a lot of fun. There's nothing sacred, like I said. You bust on guys for what they're wearing, what they look like, it's just nothing. Everything's open season, and you just have a great time spending that time together, and it takes the drudgery of the work that you have to do out of things when you really care for each other and you have those kind of relationships.
So this LSU team, after a scare in the first half, will now go home and prepare for Florida, coming to Baton Rouge next week. Holiday with the carry for LSU. They obviously playing in the SEC have, a lot of hurdles, especially in the next 4 weeks. Florida at Kentucky, Auburn at Alabama. That's the next 4 weeks for this LSU team, but a lot of people are going to be glued to their sets or trying to get into Tiger Stadium to see that game against Florida on Saturday night.
Yeah, and we spoke to Les Miles about the SEC, because he made some comments that were maybe construed as being derogatory towards the Pac-10, but his point was, is the SEC week in and week out, you've got a battle, and then at the end of all that, you have to play a conference championship game. So you are battle tested by the time you get into the postseason if you play in the SEC, and maybe not so much in other leagues, in particular the Pac-10 I referred to, where they don't have a championship game within that league.
So the number 2 team in the country, coached by Les Miles, led 10-9 at the half, outscoring Tulane 24-zip in the second half. And Les Miles with a relieved smile on his face as his team takes it 34-9. And they get ready to take on Florida. Jacob Hester and Charles Scott both running for 2 touchdowns for the number 2 ranked team in the country as they take it 34-9. Coming up next on ESPN2, NASCAR Busch Series at Kansas. For continuing coverage of this game, be sure to check out ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Ray Bentley and Rob Simmelcare, who's getting married next week. Good luck, Rob. I'm Pam Ward. As LSU takes it, Glenn Dorsey didn't have a big numbers game, but LSU, with using Ryan Perilou and Matt Flynn at quarterback in the second half, take it by the final of 34-9. And that is the final. Florida is next for LSU as we say so long